Chapter 630. As soon as these words were spoken, it immediately caused a commotion. Among this group of people, there was actually someone who had caught Yun Haitong's attention and was able to casually enter Yun Haitong's courtyard to discuss alchemy with her. What did that mean? It meant that Yun Haitong had placed this person on the same level as her. More importantly, he could enter Yun Haitong's courtyard whenever he wanted. As the saying went, the pavilion closest to the water enjoys the moonlight first. Perhaps he would develop feelings for Yun Haitong after interacting with her more. Most of the men, regardless of age, had a burning look of anticipation in their eyes. Those who knew their place sighed inwardly. They knew that it wouldn't be them. Haha, I think Miss Haitong is most likely talking about you, young Master Gu. That's right. Whose alchemy skills are comparable to young Master Gu's in this group. I'm so envious. The people beside Gu Huaxiu immediately began to flatter him. Sigh, it might not be me. Perhaps there's someone with better alchemy skills. You should know that there's always someone better. Gu Huaxiu said humbly. Although his words were humble, he couldn't hide the smug look on his face. Miss Haitong must be talking about me. Could it be that she's secretly interested in me? Otherwise, why would she ask me to go to her courtyard to discuss alchemy? That must be it. Gu Huaxiu thought happily in his heart. Congratulations, young Master Gu. You'll get a beauty soon. Someone even whispered to Gu Huaxiu. Gu Huaxiu was grinning from ear to ear. Miss Haitong, who is this person with great alchemy skills that you're talking about? Someone asked. Yu Haitong smiled and said, this person is young and elegant. He's a young talent. Miss Haitong, you're being too polite. I don't deserve such praise. As soon as Yun Haitong finished speaking, Gu Huaxiu stood up and pretended to be humble. Many people also looked at Gu Huaxiu enviously. In their opinion, the person Yun Haitong was talking about was undoubtedly Gu Huaxiu. However, Yun Haitong was stunned. She looked at Gu Huaxiu blankly and said, Brother, what are you doing? I'm not talking about you. The smile on Gu Huaxiu's face stiffened. The crowd also suddenly quieted down. After a while, someone could no longer hold it in and laughed out loud. Gu Huaxiu's expression was too hilarious. Some people tried their best to hold back their laughter until their faces turned red, while others burst out laughing. Beside Gu Huaxiu, the few people who had flattered him earlier were also frozen in place. Gu Huaxiu's body began to tremble. His handsome face flushed red. Shameful, this was too shameful. It turned out that the person Yun Haitong was talking about was not him at all. To think that he was still wishful thinking. This was really embarrassing. Also, how did Yun Haitong address him? Brother? She didn't even know his name. Gu Huaxiu wished there was a crack in the ground and he could crawl into it. In the end, he could only sit down with a red face. The few people beside him didn't even dare to look at him. The outstanding talent I'm talking about is called Lu Ming. Yun Haitong smiled sweetly and continued. Lu Ming. As soon as he said that, everyone looked at one another. Who is Lu Ming? Why had they never heard of him before? Only one person opened his eyes wide in astonishment. Lu Ming, is she talking about you? Xian Yanqing opened his eyes wide and glanced at Lu Ming in disbelief. She had also taken a glimpse at the pill that Lu Ming had refined. How was that possible? If there's no one else called Lu Ming with the same demeanor, then this Lu Ming must be me. Lu Ming rubbed his nose and said, How shameless! Xian Yanqing rolled her eyes at Lu Ming. However, she was still very curious. Don't tell me that the elixir you refined is something special? Hee, maybe Miss Yun Haitong is interested in me. Lu Ming chuckled. Shameless. Xian Yanqing said disdainfully. Meanwhile, Yun Haitong's gaze landed on Lu Ming's figure as she said, Brother Lu, what do you think of my suggestion? Lu Ming looked around and finally confirmed that Yun Haitong was talking about him. He rose from his seat with a smile and said, Thank you, Miss Yun Haitong. I think it's great. Yun Haitong's face was filled with joy as she said, I'm very impressed by Brother Lu's pill refining skills. Please guide me in the future. Miss Yun Haitong is being too courteous. Lu Ming said smilingly. Impossible, how could it be him? Miss Yun Haitong, are you mistaken? A gloomy voice could be heard at that instant. Lu Ming glanced in the direction of the voice and saw Gu Huaxiu. "Oh, how could I be mistaken?" Yun Haitang asked. "Miss Yun Haitang, the pill that this guy refined yesterday did not have the same color and aroma. It's obviously a useless pill. His pill refining skills are a mess." "Miss Yun Haitang, don't be fooled," Gu Huaxiu said loudly. "That's right, Miss Yun Haitang, I saw it too. This guy basically doesn't know how to refine pills." "Yeah, I saw it too." Many people in the surroundings blurted out too. "You don't trust my judgment?" Yun Haitang asked with squinted eyes. "Miss Yun Haitang, it's not that we don't trust your judgment, but I'm guessing that this guy must have used some method to change the pill. The pill that he gave you wasn't refined by him at all." Gu Huaxiu blurted out. He initially saw Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming together. He greeted Xian Yanqing, but Xian Yanqing ignored him, thus he was extremely displeased with Lu Ming. Just now, it was because of Lu Ming that he had embarrassed himself. Now that he had the chance to embarrass Lu Ming, he naturally had to seize the opportunity and not let it go. Yun Haitang nodded slightly. A jade bottle appeared in her hand, and she poured out a pill. She held it in her hand and asked, "Is this the pill you're talking about?" Gu Huaxiu was stunned and nodded. "Yes, it's this pill." "That's right, it's this one." The others nodded as well. "That's good. I said that Brother Lu's alchemy skills are superb because of this pill." Yun Haitang smiled. "How can it be? This is clearly a useless pill." Gu Huaxiu was dumbfounded. "Useless pill? Watch carefully." The green mental energy fire on Yun Haitang's finger flowed. In the next moment, lines of inscriptions appeared on the surface of the pill, intertwining with each other. It was extremely beautiful. The inscriptions are hidden and the medicinal effect is locked. "How is this possible? How is this possible?" Gu Huaxiu exclaimed in disbelief. After all, he was a level 4 inscriber born in the world of alchemy. He still had a good eye and could naturally see the truth of this pill at a glance. The others also widened their eyes in shock. Concealing the inscriptions was not something that ordinary people could do. Only those who had an extremely deep and proficient understanding of inscriptions could do it. This represented a certain level, and only grandmasters in the alchemy world could do it. Chapter 631. Yun Haitang took the elixir pill refined by Lu Ming and explained, "Under the effect of the inscription, this elixir pill is perfectly integrated with all kinds of spirit herbs. Moreover, it is very pure and has a strong medicinal effect. It is more than 30% better than the second-grade energy-nurturing elixir. Now, is there anything that everyone is unconvinced about?" Yun Haitang scanned the crowd. No one said anything. How could this be? Damn it! Gu Huaxiu roared in his heart. He looked at Lu Ming with murderous intent in his eyes. Today, he had really lost a lot of face. He had embarrassed himself before, and now he was even more embarrassed. He sat down with a gloomy face. He was extremely jealous of Lu Ming. Not only was Lu Ming accompanied by a rare beauty, but now he even had the opportunity to come in contact with Yun Haitang. His eyes were about to burst into flames. "You bastard!" Xian Yanqing was also speechless. He realized that he could never see through Lu Ming. "Brother Lu, take this crabapple flower. You can enter my courtyard at any time." Yun Haitang waved her hand, and a crabapple flower flew toward Lu Ming. It was a crabapple flower carved from beautiful jade, and it looked like a real one. Lu Ming reached out to take it and said with a smile, "Thank you, Miss Haitang." Then he sat down with a smile. "Pervert, you can't walk away when you see a beauty. As expected, your lust hasn't changed." Xian Yanqing snorted and said disdainfully, "You're not jealous, are you?" Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanqing with a smile. Xian Yanqing's face turned slightly red. He curled his lips and said, "Who's jealous? Don't be so smug. Who would be jealous of you? Go find your Miss Haitang. But let me tell you, this crabapple flower is very prickly. Don't get yourself into trouble before you can take advantage of it." "Don't worry." Lu Ming smiled and said, "I'll get her inscription token." Everyone. At this moment, Yun Songxing, who had remained silent the entire time, finally spoke. I also want to learn from Haitang. Pick a person with great alchemy skills who can come find me at any time to discuss alchemy. Yun Songxing's words caused the spirits of many women to rise, especially the younger ones. Their eyes shone brightly as they stared at Yun Songxing, hoping to attract his attention. Yun Songxing's gaze finally landed on Xian Yanqing. A fiery light flashed through his eyes as he warmly smiled. Miss Xian Yanqing, your alchemy skills are truly admirable. In the future, you can come to my courtyard at any time to discuss alchemy with me. How about it? Everyone followed Yun Songxing's gaze and looked at Xian Yanqing. So it's her. No wonder Yun Songxing paid attention to her. This thought flashed through many people's minds. Xian Yanqing's peerless talent was already in everyone's eyes. Apart from Gu Huaxiu, there were no less than 10 other young men who had approached Xian Yanqing to talk to her, but they were all chased away by Xian Yanqing. Many women looked at Xian Yanqing with jealousy, but they also sighed in their hearts, knowing that they were no match for Xian Yanqing. Not interested. To everyone's surprise, Xian Yanqing's reply was 3 cold words, not interested. The smile on Yun Songxing's face stiffened. He had never imagined that Xian Yanqing would reject him so straightforwardly. How could he get out of this situation? Miss Xie, please reconsider. Yun Songxing's expression turned cold. Not interested means not interested. Xian Yanqing rejected him without any hesitation. Yun Songxing's face turned completely dark, extremely unsightly. He had heard from others that there was a peerless beauty in this group, which was why he had come with Yun Haitang. As soon as he arrived, he saw Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing's beauty had moved his heart. He had wanted to learn from Yun Haitang and let Xian Yanqing interact more with him. After some time, how could Xian Yanqing escape from his grasp? However, he had never thought that Xian Yanqing would reject him so blatantly. Good, very good. Yun Songxing said a few words, and a vicious look flashed in the depths of his eyes. Then he turned around and left. Xian Yanqing curled his lips casually. He did not take it to heart at all. Yu Haitang glanced at Xian Yanqing. No one knew what she was thinking. Then she said with a smile, well, today I will explain some knowledge of alchemy. If there is anything wrong with what Haitang said, you can tell us and we will discuss it together. After that, Yun Haitang sat cross-legged on a futon and began to explain. Lu Ming also listened carefully. Although he had a good grasp of inscriptions, he was still unfamiliar with alchemy. Otherwise, the color of the elixir would not be uneven. To be honest, Yun Haitang did have a deep understanding of alchemy. Lu Ming was like a sponge, crazily absorbing the knowledge of alchemy. Yun Haitang had been talking for 3 hours before she ended the explanation. The crowd also dispersed. Lu Ming, when are you going to do it? Xian Yanqing asked on the way. In 2 days. I will find an opportunity to take the inscription token, Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing glared at Lu Ming and said worriedly, hey, I say, you can't resist the temptation of beauty. However, Lu Ming suddenly looked at her without blinking. He suddenly approached her and whispered, don't worry, I can resist other people's beauty, but I can't resist your beauty. Pervert. Xian Yanqing blushed and kicked out. Lu Ming laughed and flew back, dodging the kick and moving forward. Sigh, this guy, why is his luck so good? He can meet beautiful women wherever he goes. I have traveled across the 9 heavens and 10 lands, but I have never met so many beautiful women. Dandan sighed and was jealous of Lu Ming. Soon, they approached the dormitory. A few figures blocked their way. Gu Huaxiu and a few young men. Lu Ming smiled. It seemed that Gu Huaxiu couldn't hold it in anymore. What can I do for you? Lu Ming smiled faintly. What can I do for you? Kid, don't you know the mistake you made? A young man next to Gu Huaxiu shouted. That's right. You embarrassed young Master Hua today. Do you know your crime? Another young man shouted. I embarrassed him? Ha, what a joke. Lu Ming laughed. Kid, what are you laughing at? What's so funny? Gu Huaxiu said coldly. Isn't it funny? Did I embarrass you? You asked for it, okay? Before Miss Haitang finished speaking, you stood up on your own. And later, you stood up and said that my pills were useless. Did I say anything from the beginning to the end? You asked for it, didn't you? Lu Ming said with a smile. How dare you? If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been embarrassed in front of everyone. If it weren't for you, I would have come first this time. Gu Huashu yelled. Lu Ming was speechless. He really didn't understand his logic. He didn't have the ability, but he blamed everything on others. How ridiculous was that? Chapter 632. Lu Ming shook his head. He was too lazy to waste his time talking to someone like him. Kid, kneel down and admit your mistake, cripple your cultivation, and get out of the Cloud Ocean Alchemy Court, and I'll spare your life. Gu Huashu snapped coldly. Idiot. Lu Ming let out a sigh. Kid, what did you say? Gu Huashu's expression instantly turned dark. I said, idiot, get out of my way. A good dog doesn't block the way. Lu Ming snapped coldly. Son of a bitch, how dare you talk to young Master Gu like that? I'll cripple you. Beside Gu Huashu, a young man dashed forward and stabbed at Lu Ming's vital acupuncture points with his finger like a sword. This young man possessed a cultivation of the 5th layer Martial Emperor realm. If he were to be hit, Lu Ming's cultivation would be crippled. Bang! However, before his sword intent could reach Lu Ming, he was sent flying with a kick from Lu Ming. He flew a few hundred meters and crashed into a hill, causing a cloud of dust to fill the air. Meanwhile, the crowd was startled, causing them to stop and spectate from afar. That Lu Ming doesn't seem to be weak. A 5th layer Martial Emperor realm cultivator in the lesser success stage was sent flying with a single attack. I've never heard of him before. Could he be a genius from another district? The crowd whispered among themselves. Gu Huashu's expression turned colder as he said, so you do have some capabilities, but that's nothing before me. That. Gu Huashu's figure dashed forward and lashed out a palm at Lu Ming. As the palm passed, a loud explosion took place as the force of the palm surged in Lu Ming's direction. A peak 7th layer Martial Emperor realm cultivator in the greater success stage. This was Gu Huashu's strength. It was impressive to be able to achieve this at his age. Unfortunately, his opponent was Lu Ming. A spear appeared in his hand as he lashed out. Bang! The spear collided with Gu Huashu's palm, causing his figure to be knocked backward rapidly. Lu Ming and Wei Ran remained motionless. Of course, this was the result of Lu Ming doing his best to restrain his power. Otherwise, Gu Huashu would have been blasted apart by the spear. Lu Ming didn't want to reveal too much of his strength and attract the attention of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. Otherwise, it would be more difficult to obtain the Heavenly Demon Fruit, and the other party would definitely increase their vigilance. Lu Ming suppressed his strength to be slightly stronger than Gu Huashu's. Damn-a-kill! Gu Huashu roared and charged towards Lu Ming. His palms turned crimson gold as he sent out palm strikes towards Lu Ming. The violent palm strikes caused the space around them to tremble. Lu Ming's spear vibrated as it thrust forward, colliding with Gu Huashu's palm strike. With every thrust of the spear, Gu Huashu's palms crumbled. Lu Ming strode forward, closing in on Gu Huashu. Lose. In the end, Lu Ming roared and struck Gu Huashu with his spear, sending him flying. Gu Huashu struggled to get up and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale as he looked at Lu Ming with resentment. Brat, just you wait. Gu Huashu left with his tail between his legs after saying that. This Lu Ming is so strong. Not only is his alchemy skill high, but his cultivation is also very strong. He's already a greater success stage sovereign at such a young age. He's considered a decent genius. Let's not provoke him in the future. The others by the side looked at Lu Ming, revealing a fearful expression. One after another, they left. I thought you would kill him in one move. Xian Yanqing said. It's easy to kill him, but I'm afraid of alerting the enemy. Lu Ming smiled as the two returned to the dormitory. Night fell. In a luxurious courtyard of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution, two figures were discussing something. This was the Haitang courtyard. These two were Yun Haitang and Yun Songxing. Hee, that Gu Huashu has made his move, saving us some trouble. I was planning to send someone to test Lu Ming's strength. Yun Haitang raised a cup of red wine and took a sip, before she giggled. A 7th-layer Martial Emperor Realm Sovereign at the greater success stage. Not bad, but he's not a threat to us. That bitch Xian Yanqing dares to reject me in front of the crowd. Damn it, that bitch dares to put on an act. I'll make her beg for mercy on my bed sooner or later, Yun Songxing said in a cold tone as his eyes flickered with lust. As for the woman, don't touch her for now. At least, before I get my hands on her, you won't be able to do anything to her. Otherwise, what if you scare my prey away? This Lu Ming, I can feel that his spiritual flame is extraordinary. It must be delicious. Saying this, Yun Haitang stuck out her tongue and licked her plump lips. Her eyes flickered with lust. The action was extremely seductive, causing Yun Songsheng to swallow his saliva. His eyes burned passionately as a certain part of his body began to react. What is it? Do you want to have a go? I'll accompany you. Yun Haitang licked her lips and glanced at Yun Songsheng seductively. However, Yun Songsheng shuddered and took a step back. His eyes flickered with a hint of fear as he said with a smile, "Forget it, I still have something to do. I'll be leaving first." Saying this, Yun Songsheng left the Haitang courtyard as if he was fleeing for his life. Lu Ming. Yun Haitang mumbled as the lust in her eyes grew thicker. For 3 days in a row, there was a different person explaining alchemy to them. Lu Ming's understanding of alchemy advanced by leaps and bounds. His alchemy skills also improved a lot. During this period, Lu Ming also tried to refine elixirs a few times. He could clearly feel that every time he succeeded in refining elixirs, the law of inscription would send down traces of power of inscription to strengthen his mental flame. However, the elixirs that he refined were of a lower level than his inscription. Hence, the flames of inscription that were sent down were very few and far between. Only when refining high-quality pills or pills of a higher level than his inscription would the law of inscription produce more power of inscription. This was very helpful to the cultivation of the spiritual flame. However, it was not possible to reach that level in a short time. During these 3 days, Lu Ming did not look for Yun Haitang. Yun Haitang also did not send anyone to look for him. On the 3rd day, when night fell, a figure appeared in Lu Ming's dormitory. It was Xian Yanqing. "Lu Ming, I'll take you to see something interesting," Xian Yanqing said. "Something interesting?" Lu Ming was stunned. "Follow me. Be careful," Xian Yanqing said. Then, the two of them retracted their auras and left the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. Soon, they saw a few figures in black robes flying out from the other side of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution and heading into the distance at an extremely fast speed. "Let's follow them," Xian Yanqing whispered. The two of them followed behind the black-robed figures for hundreds of thousands of miles. At this time, the black-robed figures suddenly landed in a small village. "We have to hurry. We must collect 99 strands of Khanate blood qi tonight," one of them said. Lu Ming felt that his voice was somewhat familiar. They're really here to collect Khanate blood qi. Chapter 633. A total of 3 black-robed men rushed into a wooden house silently. Inside the house, there was a young man and woman who were not even 20 years old and a baby. The black-robed men waved their hands and 2 streams of true yuan entered the young man and woman's body, causing them to fall into a coma. Then, the 3 black-robed men carved inscriptions into the baby's body. From the baby's heart, a blood-red qi was slowly extracted. Damn it! Lu Ming's eyes flashed with cold killing intent. Although he had heard about it before, Lu Ming couldn't control the killing intent in his heart after witnessing it with his own eyes. Extracting a baby's Xiantian qi to refine a pill, this method was extremely cruel and could kill people. Lu Ming didn't restrain his aura anymore and walked into the wooden house. "Who is it?" The 3 black-robed men immediately noticed someone and shouted, "The people who will kill you." Lu Ming walked into the wooden house with cold eyes. Then, Xian Yanqing also walked in. "It's the 2 of you. Since you've seen this scene, I can only send you on your way. Originally, I wanted to let you live for a few more days." One of the black-robed men sneered. "Yun Songsheng." Lu Ming's eyes moved. No wonder he felt that this person's voice was familiar. At this moment, he guessed that it was Yun Songxing. Hee, it's me. The black-robed man took off the hood on his head, revealing a face filled with killing intent. It was Yun Songxing. Yun Songxing's fiery eyes fell on Xian Yanqing and sneered, "Bitch, you actually dared to reject me in front of everyone. Do you know that it's your fortune that I'm interested in you? Today, I'll cripple your cultivation and let you enjoy it." He. "Lu Ming, leave this guy to me." Xian Yanqing's voice was cold as if there was no emotion. Of course, Lu Ming's heart was already mourning for Yun Songxing. Attack, only cripple their cultivation. I want them alive. Yun Songxing waved his hand. Shua. Bush. At the same time, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing quickly retreated out of the wooden house and flew into the sky. You want to leave? Don't even think about it. Yun Songxing and the other two chased madly and caught up to the sky. Who wants to leave? It's just that it's more convenient here. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Do it. I'll leave this brat to you. As for that bitch, I'll personally serve her. Yun Songxing sneered and released a powerful aura. Peak of the 8th layer of the Martial King realm. This Yun Songxing had reached the peak of the 8th layer Martial Emperor realm. No wonder he was so proud of himself. Boom, boom. The auras of the other two black-robed men also burst out. They were also at the early stage of the 8th level of the Martial King realm. Both of them pounced on Lu Ming. Bush, bush. The two black-robed men's bodies hadn't even reached them when their throats were pierced by two spear lights. They couldn't even let out a blood-curdling scream. Lu Ming's figure disappeared with a flicker. Their blood essence was devoured by Lu Ming, while their storage rings were now in Lu Ming's hand. Yun Songxing's eyes opened wide as he stared at the scene in disbelief. Wasn't Lu Ming's cultivation only slightly stronger than Gu Huaxu's? How did he become so powerful all of a sudden? Two 8th-layer Martial Emperor realm experts were killed before they could even react. Hiding his strength. Lu Ming must have been hiding his strength before this. Let's go. Without hesitation, Yun Songxing turned around and fled. Being able to kill two 8th-layer Martial Emperor realm experts with ease, his strength was definitely stronger than his. Trying to escape? Xian Yanqing's gaze turned cold. She raised her jade-like hand and pressed it into the air. An invisible force field was generated, causing Yun Songxing's figure to be suspended in the air. Such a fascinating martial skill. Lu Ming exclaimed. He had experienced this martial skill before, and it was indeed powerful. He had asked Xian Yanqing about it, and learned that this martial skill was called Heavenly Demon Force Field. However, Xian Yanqing had only just learned it. She had come to the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution to obtain the Heavenly Demon Fruit in order to cultivate the Heavenly Demon Force Field. With the Heavenly Demon Fruit, her Heavenly Demon Force Field would be upgraded to a higher level. Yun Songxing was terrified. He tried his best to prick with the needles, but with his cultivation, he could not break free from the restraint of the Heavenly Demon Force Field. Let me go, what are you doing? My father is the patriarch of the Yun clan, a Sea of Soul realm expert. If you dare to kill me, my father will not let you go. Yun Songxing screamed in fear. Lu Ming, wait for me here. Xian Yanqing waved her hand and flew away with Yun Songxing. Soon, Yun Songxing's blood-curdling screams could be heard. Even Lu Ming could not bear to hear it. This seems like it's better not to offend women in the future. Lu Ming felt cold sweat on his back. After a while, the screams stopped abruptly. Xian Yanqing flew back alone. Let's go back. Xian Yanqing said. Dead? Lu Ming asked. N. Xian Yanqing nodded and flew forward. Lu Ming caught up and said, Yun Songxing's death will probably cause a commotion in the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. It's better for us to keep a low profile. Xian Yanqing nodded. With their current battle strength, it would be difficult for them to face a Sea of Soul Realm expert. Sea of Soul Realm was much stronger than Martial King Realm. An ordinary Peak King Realm expert in the first layer of the Spiritual Sea Realm could kill a bunch of them with a slap. The two returned to the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution without anyone noticing. In a mountain range hundreds of thousands of miles away from the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution, Gu Huashu sat cross-legged on a mountain peak. Damn it! If I don't kill that brat, I swear I'm not human. Gu Huashu growled, his voice filled with resentment. Hee hee, brat, you want revenge? Stop dreaming. If I'm not wrong, that Lu Ming didn't use his full strength when he fought with you. It could even be said that he only used a little bit of his strength. Suddenly, a shriveled and unpleasant voice sounded. The voice came out of nowhere. However, Gu Huashu was clearly the only one in the area. Gu Huashu didn't seem surprised at all. He only frowned and roared, "You're saying that Lu Ming didn't use his full strength? Damn it. If I'm not wrong, that Lu Ming definitely has the battle strength of a Peak King Realm expert. And that little girl gives off a very dangerous feeling. She's probably not weaker than that brat. She might even be stronger." The shriveled voice sounded again. Damn it, why is it like this? Doesn't that mean I can't take revenge? Damn it. Gu Huashu roared. That's not necessarily true. You should have prepared the things I asked you to prepare, right? As long as you do as I ask, I guarantee that your cultivation will skyrocket in a short period of time. It'll be more than enough for you to defeat those two. The shriveled voice said, I've prepared everything, but can I really defeat that brat Lu Ming in a short period of time? You just said that he has the battle strength of a Peak King. Chapter 634. Kid, you're so short-sighted. What's the big deal about defeating that kid? From now on, your cultivation will continue to soar. It'll be easy for you to enter the list of top 1,000 talents. By then, Yun Haitang will throw herself at you. You can have as many beauties as you want. The shriveled voice outlined a beautiful future for Gu Huashu. Gu Huashu's eyes were burning with passion. All right, senior. I'll listen to you. Gu Huashu gritted his teeth and a jade bottle the size of a wine jar appeared in his hand. It was filled with a dark green liquid that emitted a nauseating stench. Gu Huashu frowned at the sight. Kid, this miraculous medicine is my life's work. Although it smells bad, it's only temporary. You'll have a bright future in the future. Drink it. The shriveled voice said. All right. Gu Huashu gritted his teeth, picked up the jade bottle, and gulped down the entire bottle of dark green liquid. Good. Ha. That voice laughed with incomparable excitement. A moment later, dark green runes rose from Gu Huashu's abdomen and covered his entire body. They rapidly gathered toward his head. What's going on? Why do I feel like I can't use my true essence? I can't even use my intent realm. I can't even move my body. What's going on? Gu Huashu cried out in panic. The heavens are on my side. I can finally be resurrected. The shriveled voice laughed maniacally. Then, a shadow flew out of Gu Huashu's body. It looked like an old man, and his eyes were filled with excitement. What are you trying to do? Gu Huashu finally felt that something was wrong. What am I trying to do? Of course, I'm going to use your body to come back to the world. All my efforts were not in vain. Ha! The old man laughed maniacally, then turned into a ray of light and rushed into Gu Huashu's forehead. What are you doing? Get out of here! Gu Huashu roared. His face was twisted as he struggled madly, as if he was fighting against something. However, half an hour later, Gu Huashu's voice softened. The light in his eyes dimmed as he closed them. But in the next moment, his eyes suddenly opened, revealing a look of ecstasy. I've finally taken over this body and returned to the world. Great, this is great. Moreover, I've made it in time for the Battle of Providence. This body just so happens to meet the requirements. This time, I'm going to seize a great opportunity. Gu Huashu laughed. To be precise, he was no longer Gu Huashu. Gu Huashu, I will use your identity for now. However, your cultivation is too weak and you need to raise it. Also, there seems to be something good in the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. You must get your hands on it. Gu Huashu grinned, then sat down with his legs crossed and began cultivating. As he cultivated, the boundless spiritual chi in the sky and earth gathered frantically towards Gu Huashu's body. Gu Huashu's aura also rose rapidly. Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. Indeed, from the second day onwards, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing felt that the atmosphere in the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution had changed. It had become somewhat solemn. Moreover, there was no one to teach them. Lu Ming and the rest suddenly had nothing to do. Yun Haitong's figure had also disappeared. She did not show up and did not look for Lu Ming either. Lu Ming knew that something must have happened to Yun Songxing, which had alerted the higher-ups of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. Many of the things that the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution did were shady. They were afraid that they would attract the attention of the major forces. He believed that they would not dare to go out and collect Khanate blood qi for the time being. Since there was nothing to do, Lu Ming decided to cultivate in his dormitory. In the Temple of Paragon, Lu Ming sat down with his legs crossed. There were some strange metals beside him. They were all refining materials. With a roll of his true essence, a piece of dark gold metal appeared in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and a wisp of yellow flame flew out. It wrapped around the dark gold metal and began to burn fiercely. Lu Ming's spiritual flame used the earth core flowing flame as the fire seed. Its temperature was terrifyingly high. In a short while, the dark gold metal completely turned into a pool of liquid. It surged in the air and sizzled in the flames. Wisps of black flames could be seen floating upwards. This was burning the impurities in the metal. After a short while, Lu Ming added another piece of metal and continued to condense it with his spiritual flame. Just like that, Lu Ming added 6 pieces of metal consecutively. The 6 pieces of metal turned into liquid and fused together. Slowly, the liquid metal turned into a long sword. There were strange patterns on it, and the sword was extremely sharp. However, this was only a half-finished product. When the long sword was formed, Lu Ming's fingers quickly inscribed inscriptions in the air. Inscriptions flew into the sword and disappeared. The aura on the long sword also became stronger and stronger, giving off a feeling of showing off its sharpness. The speed at which Lu Ming's fingers inscribed inscriptions became faster and faster. It was so fast that only a bunch of afterimages were left. Half an hour later, Lu Ming let out a long breath and stopped inscribing. The spiritual flame was also retracted. The long sword fell into Lu Ming's hand. Swish, swish. Lu Ming picked up the long sword and waved it a few times. A sharp sound of breaking through the air rang out. High-grade rank 3 spirit weapon. The corner of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a smile as he felt the power of inscription sprinkled down by the law of inscription. This was Lu Ming's first time refining, and he had already refined a high-grade rank 3 spirit weapon. Lu Ming was already quite satisfied. This was related to Lu Ming's previous 2 levels, which were the perfect state with 10 spirit lamps lit. As long as Lu Ming practiced for a period of time, it wouldn't be too difficult for him to refine rank 3 spirit weapons. He might even be able to refine rank 4 spirit weapons. In the following period of time, Lu Ming spent most of his time cultivating the underworld observation method, refining pills, and refining weapons, except for a little time every day to comprehend the essence of heaven and earth and the 9 dragons ascending heaven steps. Moreover, Lu Ming felt that he was more talented in refining weapons. Under Danden's guidance, Lu Ming refined a high-grade rank 3 spirit weapon in 3 days. 7 days later, Lu Ming refined a high-grade rank 3 spirit weapon. 12 days later, Lu Ming successfully refined a low-grade rank 4 spirit weapon. Refining a high-grade spirit weapon, or refining a higher-grade spirit weapon, the power of inscription from the law of inscription increased greatly. It was much faster than cultivating the underworld observation method. Lu Ming's spiritual flame increased rapidly. In just half a month, Lu Ming had successfully ignited the 8th spirit lamp and was about to ignite the 9th. Lu Ming's goal was to ignite the 10th spirit lamp. This was only possible because he had the underworld observation method and could refine a higher-grade spirit weapon. If it was anyone else, they wouldn't even think about it. In this half a month, the atmosphere in the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution was very abnormal. However, as time passed, the atmosphere slowly returned to normal. On the 16th day, an elder finally came out to give a lecture. Young Master Lu Ming, Miss Haitang invites you to Haitang Courtyard for a chat. Chapter 635. It was finally here. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Xian Yanqing glanced at Lu Ming and said in a strange tone, "Your beauty is here. Make good use of it." Lu Ming bitterly smiled and winked at Xian Yanqing. Then he followed the maid to Haitang Courtyard. Haitang Courtyard was located on another mountain peak with beautiful scenery. Although it was a courtyard, it was built magnificently and occupied an extremely large area. It could be said that this entire mountain peak was Haitang Courtyard's territory. There were even stone palaces built in the belly of the mountain. The maid led Lu Ming through many twists and turns before arriving at a stone palace. This stone palace was built in the belly of the mountain. Light couldn't directly shine in. The walls of the stone palace were inlaid with luminous stones, giving the stone palace a hazy feeling. Within the stone palace, there was a jade table and several jade stools. On the jade table, there were already some spirit fruits, wine, and dishes. After the maid led Lu Ming here, she retreated. Now, only Lu Ming was left in the stone palace. Lu Ming looked around with interest. Then, he picked up his wine cup and poured himself a cup of wine. He drank it in one gulp. Good wine. Lu Ming couldn't help but praise. This wine was mellow and mellow. After entering his stomach, he felt his entire body warm up. The aftertaste was endless. Since it's good wine, Brother Lu should drink a few more cups today. A sweet voice rang out as Yun Haitang walked in. Today, Yun Haitang was wearing a black muslin dress. The dress was split on both sides, revealing two snow-white and plump thighs as she walked. The key point was that the dress was transparent. Some of Yun Haitang's beauty was faintly discernible. Under the hazy light of the luminous stones, it was filled with endless temptation. Yun Haitang leisurely walked in front of Lu Ming. A rich fragrance rushed into Lu Ming's nose. Lu Ming felt his heartbeat quicken. To be honest, Yun Haitang's figure was very impressive. She was only a little worse than Mulin's. In such an environment and in such a dress, any man would be tempted. Lu Ming was naturally a normal man. Yun Haitang sat on the stone bench next to Lu Ming. Her snow-white slender thighs were exposed from the slit in her gauze skirt all the way to her roots. "Brother Lu, I gave you the right to come to the Crabapple Courtyard to look for me at any time, but you didn't come even after so long. You even asked little sister to send someone to invite you over. That's too much. You must be punished with 3 cups of wine." Yun Haitang poured a glass of wine for Lu Ming and smiled sweetly. Her voice was so sweet that it could penetrate one's heart. "Fine, he deserves to be punished." Lu Ming smiled, picked up the wine cup, and drank it in one gulp. Then Yun Haitang poured another cup of wine for Lu Ming. Just like that, Lu Ming drank 3 cups in a row. Brother Lu's path of inscription is truly admirable. I feel that although Brother Lu is only a 3rd-level inscription master, your mental strength shouldn't be inferior to some 4th-level inscription masters. Could it be that Brother Lu has lit 5 spirit lamps for each level? Yun Haitang blinked her large eyes, staring at Lu Ming without blinking. Lu Ming faintly smiled. "Not bad. I was lucky to have lit 5 spirit lamps for each of the first 2 levels." Lu Ming's words caused Yun Haitang's eyes to brighten. Greed flashed in the depths of her eyes. Brother Lu's talent is truly admirable. "Come, let little sister offer you a cup of wine." Yun Haitang picked up the wine cup and drank it in one gulp. Following her movements, her proud bosom rose and fell. It was a soul-stirring sight. After drinking a cup of wine, Yun Haitang's face immediately flushed red, making her even more alluring. At this moment, a maidservant hurried in. Yun Haitang's face immediately darkened. "Can't you see that I'm drinking with young Master Lu? What are you doing here?" "Miss." The maidservant's face turned pale, revealing a trace of fear. However, she still walked over, leaned over, and whispered a few words in Yun Haitang's ear. Yun Haitang's face changed slightly. "You can leave first." The maidservant immediately excused herself. "Brother Lu, I have a small matter to deal with. Wait for me here," Yun Haitang said softly. Alright, it's fine. Miss Haitang, please go ahead. Lu Ming smiled. Yun Haitang got up and walked away gracefully. Lu Ming picked up the wine cup and drank another mouthful. Then, he stood up and continued to inscribe in the air with both hands. Inscriptions appeared and entered his body. This was the inscription formation that he had inscribed in the past to restrain one's aura. Although this formation wasn't very advanced, it had a unique effect in retracting one's aura. According to Dandan, this was its own creation. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, even a Sea of Soul Realm expert wouldn't be able to sense his aura. Inscriptions appeared on Lu Ming's body. Then, in a flash, they all disappeared. Lu Ming's aura also disappeared without a trace. The effect was many times better than him retracting his aura. Then, Lu Ming's figure moved and left the stone hall. After passing through several corridors and secret rooms, he saw another stone hall. A voice came from the stone hall. Lu Ming quietly rushed into the stone hall and hid in a corner. This stone hall was bigger than the one Lu Ming was in. A young man was sitting at the table with Yun Haitang. Haitang, I haven't seen you in a while. I really missed you. Look, I came to see you as soon as I finished my business. The young man looked at Yun Haitang with fire in his eyes. You really missed me? Don't lie to me. Yun Haitang smiled and poured a cup of wine for the young man. Of course it's true. Sigh, if it weren't for the fact that there's been a problem with the cultivation of my spiritual flame recently, not only is it not improving, it's even regressing, I really don't want to leave. I want to stay here and accompany you. The young man said. Your elders didn't find out the reason for your spirit fire's regression? Yun Haitang's eyes flashed and she asked softly. No, it's really strange. The young man muttered. Then his burning gaze fell on Yun Haitang and he said, It doesn't matter. As long as Haitang is here, even if I can't cultivate, it doesn't matter. As he spoke, the young man's hand hugged Yun Haitang's slender waist and his breathing became heavy. Yun Haitang moaned and fell into the young man's arms. Then, the two of them were entangled together. Their clothes fluttered and the two naked bodies were entangled together. Their heavy breathing echoed in the stone hall. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. He didn't expect to see such a scene when he came to check on the situation. To be honest, it was Lu Ming's first time seeing such entanglement. Lu Ming rubbed his nose and watched with interest. The young man's breathing became heavier and heavier. After a while, the young man let out a beast-like growl. At this moment, Lu Ming was shocked by the scene that took place. 3 green spirit lamps appeared above the young man's head. Above them was a green spirit fire. This meant that the young man was a 4th-level inscription master. Similarly, a spirit lamp appeared above Yun Haitang's head. Chapter 636. At this moment, the young man was immersed in the boundless pleasure and did not notice his abnormality at all. Yun Haitang's eyes flashed with frenzied greed. That poisonous snake was constantly absorbing the young man's spiritual fire. The flames of the young man's 3 spiritual lamps dimmed rapidly, especially the flame of the 3rd lamp. It was on the verge of collapse and would be extinguished at any time. It was no wonder that the young man said that his spiritual fire was weakening and that his cultivation of the spiritual fire was deteriorating instead of improving. It would be strange if it did not deteriorate after playing this game with Yun Haitang every day. Moreover, he did not notice it at all. Yun Haitang was using this method to cultivate her spiritual fire. Lu Ming felt a chill run down his spine. This process only took about 10 breaths of time. The spiritual fire above their heads dimmed and disappeared. The young man slumped to the ground like a pile of mud. Rest here for a while. I still have something to deal with. Yun Haitang said to the young man. The young man nodded. At this moment, Lu Ming quietly left the stone hall and returned to the previous stone hall. He poured a cup of wine and slowly sipped it. Not long after, footsteps sounded and Yun Haitang returned. Brother Lu, sorry to keep you waiting. Yun Haitang said in a sweet voice and walked over gracefully. Yun Haitang's thin clothes covered her body, and there was even a hint of redness on her face. She looked even more charming. However, Lu Ming could not help but feel a chill run down his spine when he thought of the scene just now. He was not in the mood to admire it at all. He only said perfunctorily, "I didn't wait long. You're quite fast." He indeed felt that the old man was quite fast. Yun Haitang smiled faintly and sat down beside Lu Ming. She poured a cup of wine for Lu Ming and then poured a cup for herself. She said, "Brother Lu, I'll punish myself with a cup." With that, she picked up the cup and drank it in one gulp. After putting down the cup, Yun Haitang blinked her big eyes and stared at Lu Ming. After a while, she said, "Brother Lu, I invited you here today to tell you something from the bottom of my heart." "What is it?" Lu Ming asked with a smile. Yun Haitang's face flushed red. Her body slowly approached Lu Ming. She placed a small hand on Lu Ming's shoulder. Her face was close to Lu Ming. Her breath smelled like orchids, and her hot breath blew on Lu Ming's face. "Actually, the first time I saw Brother Lu, I felt that Brother Lu was the man I had been waiting for my whole life. Recently, I've been missing Brother Lu very much." As she spoke, Yun Haitang's plump body was about to sit on Lu Ming's lap. Her fragrance assailed his nostrils. With such a scene and Yun Haitang being such a rare beauty, he believed that no man would be able to resist such temptation. If Lu Ming hadn't seen that scene just now, he might have been tempted as well. However, at this moment, he did not feel anything at all. He said indifferently, "The way I see it, you're not missing me, but my spiritual fire." His calm and indifferent voice made Yun Haitang's movements stiffen. Her body, which almost sat on Lu Ming's lap, also froze in the air. She revealed an ugly smile on her face. She looked at Lu Ming and said coquettishly, "Brother Lu, what are you talking about? What do you mean by missing your spiritual fire? I don't understand." "I have a question. I'd like to correct you. I'm younger than you, but you keep calling me little sister. It's embarrassing." Lu Ming said very seriously. "Hee, so it's little brother. I thought you were older than me." Yun Haitang's face stiffened, but she smiled again. "There's one more thing. After you left, I was bored, so I walked around and happened to see the exciting scene between you and that young master. Hee, I wonder what will happen if this spreads?" Lu Ming laughed. Yun Haitang's face changed completely. It became extremely gloomy, and her eyes revealed a cold, murderous intent. "Little brother, it's not good to wander around in other people's territory. You'll pay with your life." As soon as he finished his words, Yun Haitang's finger pierced toward his throat like a sharp sword. Her hand was placed on Lu Ming's shoulder. Since the distance between them was too close, Yun Haitang was confident that she could kill Lu Ming with this move. But in the next moment, her 100% confidence was reduced to 0. This was because Lu Ming's hand had grabbed her wrist. She had no idea how Lu Ming had grabbed her wrist. Even with her peak 8th layer martial emperor realm cultivation, she was unaware of it. In an instant, a short sword appeared in her other hand and slashed toward Lu Ming's throat. However, the next moment, her hand was grabbed by Lu Ming again. Lu Ming grabbed both of her wrists. A terrifying true energy surged into Yun Haitang's body, causing her body to go limp and her true qi to dissipate. She had no strength to resist. Her heart sank. What do you want?" Yun Haitang yelled. Lu Ming's cultivation was too terrifying. It was far above hers. "Nothing? I just want to take your inscription badge. I don't mind if I can get rid of evil for the people." Lu Ming smiled faintly. You killed Yun Songxing, didn't you?" Yun Haitang asked. "You could say that." Lu Ming nodded. "The ancestor of the Yun clan won't let you go if you do that," Yun Haitang yelled. "Is that so?" Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as a murderous intent spread out. "Miss." At this time, a few maidservants heard the noise and rushed in. Lu Ming flicked his finger and spear radiance flew out, penetrating the maidservants' dantians and destroying their cultivation. Their ability to speak was also sealed, so they couldn't speak for the time being. Feeling the cold murderous intent from Lu Ming, Yun Haitang was scared. She smiled with a pale face and begged, "Lu Ming, Brother Lu, I beg you let me go. I can give you anything you want. Also, I will serve you well and make you comfortable. I guarantee that you will be satisfied." The meaning behind his words was self-evident. Lu Ming smiled faintly and said, I don't need it. Then he pointed at Yun Haitong's dantian. Yun Haitong's cyclone collapsed, and she collapsed on the ground like a pile of mud. Her eyes were full of despair. Then, Lu Ming pointed at Yun Haitong's glabella a few times. 5 spirit lamps appeared above Yun Haitong's head. The spirit lamps flickered a few times and then collapsed one by one. Yun Haitong's cultivation and inscription Dao had been destroyed. Lu Ming rolled up Yun Haitong's storage ring and took it in his hand. Lu Ming, kill me if you can. Otherwise, I won't let you go. Yun Haitang shouted with hatred. You will never be a threat to me. Lu Ming cast a faint glance at Yun Haitang. His tone was full of confidence. How could he take a mere Yun Haitang seriously? Moreover, she was someone who had crippled her cultivation and the Tao of inscription. Chapter 637. What's wrong? You're back so soon. Since a beauty invited you, why don't you take the opportunity to get closer to her? Xian Yanqing said sarcastically when he saw Lu Ming. Why would I get close to other women? If I want to get close to someone, it should be you. Lu Ming chuckled. Xian Yanqing blushed and said, Stop it. Who wants to get close to you? Tell me, did you lust after her and get chased out? Lu Ming was speechless. Was his character that bad? Seeing that Lu Ming did not speak, Xian Yanqing smiled. Forget it. Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's get down to business. Lu Ming took out Yun Haitong's storage ring and immersed his mind into it. After a while, a token appeared. This is an inscription token? You're doing it so soon? Xian Yanqing asked. Of course. If I don't do it now, I'll have to sacrifice my body. Lu Ming muttered and said, Now, let's do it immediately. Otherwise, we won't have a chance when others find out that something happened to Yun Haitang. Alright. Xian Yanqing was not a hesitant person and immediately nodded. Wait a minute. Lu Ming shouted. Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming in confusion. I'll inscribe an inscription array for you to restrain your aura. Lu Ming's hands were constantly inscribing. Inscriptions flew into Xian Yanqing's body. In a short while, the inscription array to conceal one's aura was completed. Lu Ming, I didn't expect your inscription technique to be so brilliant. Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming curiously. It's just so. Let's go. His figure flashed and he went into the depths of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. Xian Yanqing followed. At the same time, in a secret room of the Cloud Sea Pill Institution, a low roar like that of a wild beast could be heard. A white-haired elder had his heart pierced by Gu Huashu's claw. Or you, Gu Huashu wasn't that strong? Disbelief flashed in the old man's eyes. He was a core elder of the Cloud Sea Alchemy Institution, a peak king. Even if Gu Huashu had launched a sneak attack, he wouldn't have been able to pierce through his heart. The cultivation that Gu Huashu had just displayed was utterly terrifying. Heh, death is at hand, why do you care so much? I just want your inscription token. True essence erupted, and the old man's aura vanished. Gu Huashu chuckled coldly. He licked his lips and took off the old man's storage ring. A moment later, a badge appeared in his hand, which was identical to the badge Lu Ming had obtained from Yun Haitang and the others. Gu Huashu's figure flickered, and he headed toward the treasury of the Cloud Sea Alchemy Institution. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's cultivation was extremely profound. Their movement techniques were as fast as lightning, and with the inscription array concealing their auras, no one could discover them. Soon, the two of them arrived at the depths of the Cloud Sea Alchemy Institution. There was a huge mountain here. Halfway up the mountain, there was a stone door. The stone door was tightly shut, and there were inscription arrays all around it. Without the inscription token, even if one tried to force their way in, it would alert the upper echelons of the Cloud Sea Alchemy Institution, including the Sea of Soul Realm expert. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing rushed to the mountainside, took out the inscription token, and poured their true essence into it. Buzz. The inscription token glowed and inscriptions appeared. Inscriptions also appeared on the stone door. These inscriptions formed a light shield in front of the door. At that moment, the light barrier parted to form a door. As for the stone door, it opened by itself. "Let's go!" Their figures flashed as they rushed in. The light barrier closed automatically, and so did the stone door. Behind the stone door, there was a wide passage. It was obviously man-made, and the walls were bumpy. The two of them followed the passage and moved forward quickly. The passage was slanted downwards, and it went underground. The two of them carefully moved forward for a few minutes. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt his hair stand on end, and a sense of danger erupted from the bottom of his heart. "Be careful!" Lu Ming suddenly pulled Xian Yanqing and retreated quickly. Chi-chi, two sharp forces shot into the place where the two of them had been, leaving two bottomless, thumb-sized holes in the ground. "Die!" A figure pounced out quickly, and a dark green claw light grabbed at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's vital points. It was unbelievably fast. Buzz! A long spear condensed in Lu Ming's hand. The spear light pierced through the void and pierced forward. Heavenly Demon Force Field. Xian Yanqing pressed his hand forward, and a powerful force field burst out, encapsulating his opponent. Bang! Lu Ming's spear light collided with his opponent's. Lu Ming's figure swayed slightly, while his opponent retreated rapidly. How powerful! Lu Ming's eyes glistened. Despite his and Xian Yanqing's teamwork, their opponent was only knocked back and was not injured. This was a clear indication of his strength. Of course, it was also because they had not used their full strength in a hurry. Gu Huaxiu. At this moment, Lu Ming saw the person before him and was astounded, his eyes filled with disbelief. Xian Yanqing beside him had the same reaction. The person who had ambushed them was none other than Gu Huaxiu. Gu Huaxiu was only a 7th-layer martial emperor half a month ago. In just half a month's time, his cultivation had improved to such a terrifying level. Hee, the combat strength of the two of you is beyond my expectations. Gu Huaxiu let out a hollow laugh and licked his lips, staring coldly at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing frowned. They did not expect to stumble into Gu Huaxiu here. "You're here to rob the treasure of the Cloud Ocean Pill Court too, right?" Lu Ming said. Hee, not bad, I didn't expect you two to be here too. "Very well, I'll use this chance to get rid of you." Gu Huaxiu's eyes flickered as his figure transformed into more than 10 illusionary figures, charging in Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's direction. Every illusory figure looked real, and every illusory figure exuded a powerful aura. Sky Poison Claw. Gu Huaxiu groaned as he lashed out with a claw glow. The illusionary figures lashed out with their claws, covering Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's vitals. Heavenly Demon Force Field. Heavenly Demon Cleave. Xian Yanqing roared as the Heavenly Demon Force Field exploded, containing a terrifying cutting power. Swoosh, swoosh. Lu Ming's spear transformed into more than 10 spear radiances, piercing through the illusionary figures. Bam, bam. The three of them had restrained their genuine essence during the battle. Otherwise, with their combat strength, they would have pierced through the mountain. "I didn't expect the two of you to be so powerful. I'm afraid even the lower-ranked geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents are no match for either of you." Chapter 638. However, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were equally shocked. Gu Huaxiu had reached such a terrifying level in just half a month. His cultivation had already reached the level of a peak king. Furthermore, the martial skills he used were extremely strange, and his battle prowess was extremely strong. Lu Ming wasn't confident that he could win in a one-on-one battle. This guy's condition is too strange. Dandan stared at Gu Huaxiu with her dark eyes, her eyeballs rolling in their sockets. "Dandan, what did you see?" Lu Ming asked. Dandan had said that it had lived for a long time, and Lu Ming felt that it might be true. Perhaps Dandan could really see something. It's a bit like possession, but it's not easy. It requires a series of coincidences, or it'll be very difficult to succeed. Dandan muttered. Possession. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's expressions changed as disbelief appeared in their eyes. They had heard of the legend of possession. It was said that after a cultivator reached the spiritual god realm and formed a spiritual god, the spiritual god wouldn't crumble immediately even if the physical body was destroyed. It could even be reborn through possession. However, seizing someone's body wasn't as easy as one would imagine. Once a spiritual god left the body, it would be extremely weak and wouldn't be able to exist for long. Most importantly, every person's will was extremely strong and even involved the law of life. Basically, it was impossible to be possessed. If a spiritual god wanted to possess someone, it would usually end up in ashes. However, there were examples of successful possession in history, but it was too rare. Could it be that Gu Huaxiu had been possessed by a powerful existence? At this moment, Gu Huaxiu's expression changed drastically. I'll let the two of you go for now. I'll take your lives in the future. Gu Huaxiu snorted coldly and quickly retreated into the depths of the tunnel. After him. The two chased after him. The three of them continued forward, passing through the East Bay and West Bay. After a while, a huge underground cave appeared in front of them. On the ceiling of the underground cavern, there were blood-red gems embedded in the stone walls, scattering blood-red light. In the middle of the underground cavern, there was actually a medicinal field with more than a dozen types of spirit herbs planted. Blood infant fruit, dragon poison fruit, my intuition was right. As soon as Gu Huaxiu arrived, he was overjoyed and rushed toward the fruit trees. Heavenly demon fruit. Xian Yanqing saw a fruit tree that was as tall as a man. It was pitch black, and there was only one fruit on it. It was the size of a fist, and its surface was covered with strange patterns. This was the heavenly demon fruit that Xian Yanqing needed. Xian Yanqing pounced on the heavenly demon fruit. At this moment, the air began to vibrate violently. The vibrations were densely packed, as though countless bees were flying around. However, the vibrations were thousands of times stronger than bees. Immediately, beetles flew out from the ground under the fruit trees. They shot toward Gu Huaxiu and Xian Yanqing like bullets. Their speed was shocking. The vibrations were caused by the beetles' wings flapping in the air. Be careful! Lu Ming exclaimed softly and dashed over quickly. Heavenly demon force field. Xian Yanqing pressed his palm down, and the powerful heavenly demon force field enveloped the beetles. However, the beetles' speed was only slightly affected, and they continued to rush towards Xian Yanqing. Heavenly demon cleave. An incomparably sharp cutting power erupted, and a cutting power like wind blades slashed towards the beetles. Clang, clang. The powerful cutting force cut through the beetles, but the sound of metal clashing could be heard, and sparks flew everywhere. Only a few of the beetles were cut in half, while the rest were sent flying. They slowed down for a moment before rushing over again. On the other side, a short sword appeared in Gu Huaxiu's hand, and he slashed repeatedly. However, the result was the same. Only a few beetles were killed, while the rest were sent flying. Sacred beetles, damn it, why are there sacred beetles here? Gu Huaxiu roared. The beetles flew up again, and there were at least 1,000 of them. Lu Ming rushed forward, and a huge spear light condensed in his hand. He swept it out, and dozens of the sacred beetles were sent flying like bullets, crashing into the surrounding walls and blasting large holes in them. However, even more sacred beetles pounced on Lu Ming. This kind of sacred beetle had a long spike on its mouth. It was abnormally sharp, and no one wanted to be pierced by this kind of spike. Shao Qing, take the heavenly demon fruit and retreat. Lu Ming shouted. Juniors, today, none of you will be able to leave. All of you will stay here. At this moment, a bone-chilling voice sounded. Boom! In the air above the cave, a mighty and terrifying aura pressed down. This aura gave people the feeling of facing a vast ocean. Not good, it's a sea of soul realm expert. Lu Ming's face changed. It seemed that the Cloud Ocean Alchemy Institution had been waiting for them here. 9 dragons stomping the sky. Lu Ming didn't hesitate, and directly used the 9 dragons stomping the sky. His body turned into a ray of light, and in a flash, he dodged the large group of sacred beetles and rushed toward the heavenly demon fruit. Then, with a sweep of his spear, a group of sacred beetles in front of him were sent flying. His Zhen Yuan swept forward and wrapped around the heavenly demon fruit, and Lu Ming put it into his storage ring. Heavenly demon fruit, let's go! Lu Ming shouted, and his body flew toward the exit. At the same time, Xian Yanqing also retreated. Juniors, stay here. A furious roar rang out, and two powerful forces pressed down on the two of them at an unimaginable speed. They were two rings of fire, and they emitted a shocking pressure. So hot. That's a second-grade fire concept. Lu Ming's heart stirred, and three kinds of concepts burst out. A spear light burst out, striking the ring of fire. There was a deafening roar and Lu Ming felt a boundless pressure surging toward him. His body shook slightly and he could not help but retreat continuously. On the other side, Xian Yanqing was also in a similar situation, and he retreated a few steps. In the sky, a burly middle-aged man wearing a red robe stood in the void. His cold gaze swept over the three of them. My son Yun Songxing was killed by you? Today, I'll bury you with him. A cold voice was heard. As soon as he finished his words, the burly man in red robes pressed his hands down. A total of 9 flame rings were launched at Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Gu Huaxiu respectively. At the same time, the sacred beetles trembled violently and flew toward the three. Heavenly Demon Force Field. Destruction cut. Xian Yanqing shouted and pressed out with both hands. A powerful force field covered a radius of 10 meters, and an invisible cutting force destroyed everything. This time, many sacred beetles were directly cut in half, and only 3 rings of fire were left, rampaging in the force field. This is the destruction concept. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Chapter 639. The destruction intent was a special intent. Its attack power was terrifying and could destroy everything. In terms of attack power, even the thunder intent was inferior to it. At the same time, Xian Yanqing had also comprehended the wind intent. However, the two intents were clearly not merged together. Die for me. At this moment, a long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Ever since he obtained the infinite dragon spear, Lu Ming had not used it yet. The infinite dragon spear turned into a series of afterimages. Dozens of spear lights shot out. As the spear lights were too sharp, they tore open dozens of vacuum channels in the air. The spear lights pierced through dozens of sacred beetles, causing them to explode. The tip of the infinite dragon spear was made of indestructible steel. It was incomparably tough and sharp. It easily broke through the sacred beetle's defense. On the other side, Gu Huaxiu let out a long roar. Dark green sword chi burst out. It was also stronger than before and split the sacred beetles apart. Boom, boom. Thereafter, there was a violent roar. Lu Ming and the group collided with the flaming ring and there was a shocking explosion. The entire mountain peak shook violently. Damn it! The red-robed middle-aged man's eyes were filled with shock. Lu Ming and the other two were too strong. Not only could they break through the sacred beetles, but they could also block his attack. They were only martial kings, but they were so terrifying. Overflowing flames destroy the world. The red-robed man waved his hands and pressed down. Immediately, dozens of rings of flames formed and shot towards the three. This flaming disk was the fusion of the red-robed man's true essence and concept. It was incomparably powerful, and the edges of the disk were incomparably sharp. It also contained the explosive power of flames. If a person was struck by it, they would definitely explode. Lu Ming, how about the three of us work together? Gu Huaxiu suddenly called out. The other party was a Sea of Soul Realm expert. Whether it was Zhen Yuan or intent, they were both too strong. They would not be a match for him alone. If they wanted to leave this place safely, they could only work together. Otherwise, they would be defeated one by one. All right. Lu Ming was also very clear on this point. Without hesitation, he nodded and agreed. Regardless of whether Gu Huaxiu was possessed or not, he had to get through this first. Gu Huaxiu's figure flickered and appeared beside Lu Ming and the others like a ghost. Spiritual sea tier, Dantian turning into the sea, true essence is too dense. We can't fight him head-on, or else our true essence will definitely be exhausted. The opponent is a martial artist at the peak of the first layer of the spiritual sea tier. We can only take the initiative and counterattack to have a chance of winning. Gu Huaxu quickly analyzed. What method do you have? Lu Ming asked. It was very likely that Gu Huaxu had been possessed by a spiritual god. His knowledge was extraordinary. Perhaps he really had a way. While resisting the attacks of the red-robed man, they conversed with each other via voice transmission. The two of us will open up a path and attack the opponent. Let this girl use her force field to envelop the opponent and reduce his speed. Only then will we have a chance to win. Gu Huaxu said. All right, let's lead the way. Lu Ming nodded. Following which, he activated his second bloodline, causing his strength to increase by several notches. Extreme Path Strike. Lu Ming used his most powerful strike, becoming one with his spear. He turned into a ray of spear light, piercing through the void and shooting up into the sky. Several rings were destroyed by Lu Ming, and the sharp spear light was aimed at the red-robed man. Azure Poison Sword. Gu Huaxu's eyes flashed with a dense dark green light. Even the short sword in his hand turned dark green. He slashed out, and several rings were also destroyed. The dark green sword light slashed towards the red-robed man. The red-robed man's eyes turned serious. He clenched his fists, and the fire rings all flew back. They turned into two rings, emitting a powerful aura, and shot towards Lu Ming's spear light and dark green sword chi. Boom! Boom! Two earth-shattering explosions were heard as a violent force spread out in all directions. Two pillars of chi soared into the sky from where the three of them were fighting. Boom! The stone wall above the cave was directly pierced through, and the entire mountain shook violently. Countless boulders fell, but when they were still a few dozen meters away from the four, they were shattered by the energy emitted from their bodies. Charge out! Lu Ming yelled at Xian Yanqing. Bush, bush. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing turned into two streaks of light and charged out. On the other side, Gu Huaxu did the same. Want to leave? Say. The red-robed man let out an earth-shattering roar, and turned into a sea of fire that shot towards the three. Sky Demon Force Field. Xian Yanqing pressed his small hand, and the Sky Demon Force Field acted on the red-robed man, stopping him for a moment. Just like that, Lu Ming and the other two charged out of the mountain. Stay here! The burly man in the red robe roared furiously. The next moment, the heavenly demon force field was shattered. He turned into a flame and dashed into the sky instantly. With a wave of his hand, dozens of flame rings blasted toward the trio. Lu Ming and the other two counterattacked, and explosions sounded like fireworks in the sky. As for the mountain peak below, it had completely collapsed. Damn it! Gu Huaxu roared. The spiritual herb he wanted was still inside. What's going on? Something happened in the forbidden area. Such a huge commotion naturally alarmed the entire Cloud Sea Elixir institution, and countless people flew in the sky. Whoosh! Whoosh! More than 20 figures flew towards Lu Ming and the others. Old Ancestor, what's going on? Old Ancestor, what's going on? These people asked one after another. These people trespassed into the forbidden area. Everyone attack and take them down. The red-robed man ordered. What? How dare they? Courting death. These 20 people shouted, and powerful auras erupted, surrounding Lu Ming and the other two. These 20 people were all kings in the Greater Success stage, and they were the strongest force in the Cloud Sea Elixir institution. Kill them. The red-robed man ordered. Kill. Kill! More than 20 Greater Success kings attacked at the same time, unleashing all kinds of secret techniques and lights toward the three. Die, brat! The red-robed man waved his hand, and everyone's attacks were directed at Gu Huaxu. He wanted to take them down one by one. His attacks were too scattered, and that was why Lu Ming and the others were able to block them. Now, he wanted to focus on one person. Gu Huaxu was shocked, and he quickly retreated, and a dark green sword chi shot out. The red-robed man pressed his hand down, and a ring of flames spun rapidly, colliding with the sword chi. The sword chi only resisted for a breath's time before collapsing, but the ring didn't stop, and it continued forward. Clang! Gu Huaxu's short sword struck the ring, and his body trembled, and he quickly retreated. No, I'm not a match for him alone. I need to work together. Gu Huaxiu ignored everything and rushed towards Lu Ming. Chapter 640. On the other side, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were also entangled. Alchemists were proficient in inscriptions, so naturally, they were also proficient in joint attacks. More than 20 kings joined hands and formed a joint attack formation, firmly entangling Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming was clear about the other party's intention. They wanted to entangle the two of them first while the red-robed man killed Gu Huaxiu, then kill them. Kill them one by one. If that was the case, they would be in danger. The red-robed man was not an ordinary Sea of Soul Realm expert who had just broken through, but had already reached the peak of the first layer of the Sea of Soul Realm. If they fought him alone, they would only be defeated. Charge out and join hands with Gu Huaxiu. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Xian Yanqing. Sky Demon Force Field, Destructive Cut. Xian Yanqing pressed his hands together, and the Sky Demon Force Field enveloped more than 20 kings. The destructive cutting power crazily cut at them. If it were just a few kings, they would have already been cut into meat paste. However, with more than 20 of them working together, their auras fused, and the formation resisted. Devour! Lu Ming pressed his left palm, and a powerful devouring power erupted, acting on the 20 kings, crazily devouring their blood essence. Steady! One of the old men shouted. This old man had the strength of a peak king. In fact, there were 8 peak kings among the 20 kings. Otherwise, they would not have been able to resist the joint attack of Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. True Dragon Attack, break for me! Lu Ming stabbed out with his long spear, and a tricolor true dragon flew out, crashing into the 20 kings. Block it, block it! Just a while more and the old ancestor will be able to kill that person and come help us. An old man roared. They were also incomparably shocked. Where did these young men come from? They were simply too strong, and did not seem like martial kings at all. They were too terrifying. At this moment, countless people in the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution were looking at the battle in the sky, shocked. Just as Lu Ming used the true dragon strike, a sword light suddenly flashed from a mountain peak below. This sword light seemed to come from beyond the heavens, peerlessly sharp. The target of this sword light was the same as Lu Ming's. It was also the experts of the Cloud Sea Pill Institution. Boom! The tricolor true dragon collided with the attacks of the people from the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. They had never expected that there would be another sword light. He wanted to defend himself, but he didn't have enough strength. As the sword light flashed, 7 or 8 kings at the greater success stage were sliced in half. The formation was broken. Once the formation was broken, Xian Yanqing's heavenly demonic force field erupted. Blood splattered everywhere as a few more experts were killed. The Cloud Sea Elixir Institution is such a filthy and disgusting place. Today it shall be destroyed. A figure stepped out of the void and appeared in the air in an instant. This was a young man, about 25 or 26 years old. He was dressed in a white robe and was handsome and refined. Come and help me. On the other side, Gu Huaxiu shouted. He could no longer hold on and was vomiting blood. He couldn't hold on for much longer. The two of you, I'll leave the rest to you. I'll go and help him. After saying that, the white-robed young man turned into a sword light and charged toward the red-robed man. Yun Luo, you old bastard, today will be the day you die. The white-robed young man's voice was filled with killing intent. Damn it, who are you? The red-robed man, who was Yun Luo, roared. I'm Li Xiaoyun, the Imperial Sky Divine Guard. I've been investigating what the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution has done for a long time. You shall be destroyed. The white-robed young man shouted coldly. Endless sword chi burst out from his hands. The white-robed young man's cultivation was also at the peak king level, but his combat strength was no weaker than Gu Huaxiu and Xian Yanqing's. Li Xiaoyun, who is ranked 943 on the list of top 1,000 talents. Lu Ming's expression changed. Let's join forces and break out. At this moment, an old man trapped in the heavenly demon force field tried to break out. With the formation broken, their strength was greatly reduced. Now that a few of them had been killed by Xian Yanqing, there were only a dozen of them left. They tried to break out of the heavenly demon force field, but they could not break out at all. Now I'll send you on your way. Lu Ming stabbed out with his spear, and hundreds of tricolor true dragons flew out and pounced toward the dozen experts from the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. At the same time, the devouring power of the 9 dragons' bloodline shrouded them through his left palm. This was equivalent to Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing working together. Ordinary Peak Kings would not be able to resist and were killed one by one. Devour! Drops of blood essence flew into Lu Ming's left palm and were devoured by the 9 dragons' bloodline. Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming curiously. He did not know why Lu Ming would devour the blood essence. Now, let's go and kill that old man. Lu Ming smiled but did not explain. He could not explain the 9 dragons' bloodline for now. As for the 20 over-storage rings, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing kept all of them. Okay. Xian Yanqing nodded. Meanwhile, the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution was in an uproar. The strongest group of elders of the Cloud Sea Pill Institution were all dead. All of them had been killed. Those who knew Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were even more shocked. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing are not on the list of top 1,000 talents. How can they be so strong? Even Peak Kings can't fight back against them. The most terrifying one is Gu Huaxiu. He's so strong that he didn't die under the Patriarch's attack. A great era is coming. I heard that in recent years, geniuses have been emerging all over the eastern wilderness. Many of them are not weaker than those on the list of top 1,000 talents. It's over. The Cloud Sea Elixir Institution has been targeted by these monsters. Let's go. Some of the people who were studying alchemy retreated far away to avoid being implicated. Some of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution disciples also retreated to a secluded place to watch. If something went wrong, they would leave immediately. At the same time, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing had already charged toward Yun Luo. Gu Huaxiu and Li Xiaoyun were still no match for Yun Luo, but they could still fend her off. Sky Demon Force Field. Before Xian Yanqing arrived, the Sky Demon Force Field had already enveloped Yun Luo. True Dragon Strike. The dazzling spear radiance turned into a 3-colored dragon and charged toward Yun Luo. At the same time, Gu Huaxiu and Li Xiaoyun counterattacked. Boom! Boom! Yun Luo's body shook violently as she retreated. Bush! Bush! Li Xiaoyun and Gu Huaxiu moved and blocked Yun Luo's path. The 4 of them surrounded Yun Luo. Hee, let's see how arrogant you are now. Gu Huaxiu sneered. Yun Luo, I've already investigated what the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution has done. From today onwards, the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution will be removed from the world. Li Xiaoyun's voice was extremely cold. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing did not speak, but their cold eyes said it all. Countless people were shocked. The 4 geniuses were going to kill a spiritual sea realm expert today. Moreover, Yun Luo was a peak first-tier spiritual sea realm expert. If she was killed, it would be a huge piece of news. It was rare for a king realm expert to kill a spiritual sea realm expert because the gap between a king realm expert and a spiritual sea realm expert was too large. Chapter 641. Do you really think that you can kill me? Yun Luo's aura surged as he scanned his surroundings. However, his heart was heavy. The 4 people before him were too strong, surpassing common sense. Ordinary Peak Kings would only be instantly killed in front of them. If he was alone, he was confident that he could defeat and kill them. However, he felt pressured by the 4 of them working together. Especially, he looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming was only a peak 9th level martial king, but he was already so powerful. The Battle of Providence is about to begin. These monsters have all made their move. Yun Luo felt bitter. Although it's rare for a king to kill a spiritual sea realm cultivator, it's not unheard of in history. Gu Huaxiu smirked and licked his lips. Kill! Lu Ming did not waste his breath and simply made a move. He had devoured a large amount of blood essence, so he had to end the battle as soon as possible to refine the blood essence. As soon as Lu Ming moved, the other 3 moved as well. They all used their ultimate techniques and charged toward Yunluo. The sky suddenly boiled as the violent attacks shook the world. Strands of energy flowed out and fell to the ground. Boom, boom. Each strand of energy was like a heavy bomb, causing mountains and rivers to explode and palaces to collapse. The Cloud Sea Elixir Institution was in a mess. The disciples of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution screamed as they ran. Those who were too slow were killed by the explosions. 5 figures turned into 5 rays of light and engaged in a life-and-death battle in the sky. However, Yunluo was already at a disadvantage. A moment later, blood splattered everywhere as one of his arms was chopped off. Yunluo let out a beast-like roar. Suddenly, a bloody light filled the air as Yunluo turned into a ray of bloody light and charged out of the encirclement. "You 4 little bastards, just you wait. I will avenge my lost arm." Yunluo's voice echoed in the sky, but he was already far away. Yunluo had escaped. It's a pity that he got away. Li Xiaoyun sighed. Lu Ming's expression was calm. The 4 of them didn't have an overwhelming advantage against Yunluo in the first place. How could it be so easy to kill her? Being able to leave behind an arm and injure her vitality was already pretty good. If the other party doesn't die, he will definitely seek revenge. I won't accompany you. Gu Huashu sneered. He glanced at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing before his figure flashed and vanished into the horizon. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. This guy was really cautious. Once the battle ended, he immediately left. He was most likely afraid that Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing would find trouble with him. To be honest, Lu Ming did not mind getting rid of him if he had the chance. Gu Huashu gave Lu Ming a very dangerous feeling. May I know how I should address you two? Li Xiaoyun cupped his fists at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing and smiled. Lu Ming. Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing replied. Lu Ming? Xian Yanqing? I've never heard of him. It seems that we've entered a golden age with endless geniuses. If the list of top 1,000 talents is rearranged now, I wonder if I'll be kicked out of it. Li Xiaoyun smiled bitterly. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing looked to be in their 20s, but their cultivation and combat strength shocked him. Brotherly, you're too modest. I've heard of your name before. Lu Ming said politely. What do you two plan to do next? Are you going to the chaotic astral sea as well? Li Xiaoyun asked curiously. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. There was no need to hide it. The Battle of Providence is approaching, and many geniuses have been mobilized. As far as I know, many geniuses have entered the chaotic astral sea recently to train themselves. After I've settled the matter of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution, I plan to explore the chaotic astral sea as well. Li Xiaoyun said with a smile. Lu Ming nodded. Indeed, the chaotic astral sea was extremely chaotic. It was an unreasonable place where one could be attacked at any time. There was no shortage of life-and-death battles there. In such an environment, one could indeed improve and break through one's limits. If one did not break through, one would probably die. It was normal for many geniuses to enter the chaotic astral sea to train themselves. Lu Ming could not help but look forward to it. Li Xiaoyun was ranked 943 on the list of top 1,000 talents, dozens of places higher than Xing Xing. His combat strength was much stronger than Xing Xing's. Li Xiaoyun could easily defeat Xing Xing. He was only dozens of places higher than Xing Xing, but he was already so powerful. How powerful would the geniuses who were ranked higher be? Not to mention the geniuses who had entered the Sea of Soul realm, there must be many geniuses who were stronger than Li Xiaoyun in the Martial King realm. Lu Ming was eager to meet them. Brother Li, we'll take our leave then, Lu Ming said. He was in a hurry to find a place to refine the blood essence. All right, we'll have a drink when we meet again, Li Xiaoyun said with a smile. Definitely. Lu Ming nodded and then left with Xian Yanqing. After Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing left, 2 figures appeared beside Li Xiaoyun and bowed. Young master, send the news to the Emperor Sky Divine Palace in the Yunfeng domain. Get someone to deal with the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. Using innate blood essence to refine elixirs is an evil practice. Li Xiaoyun said coldly. The two old men bowed. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing flew toward the west. After flying for hundreds of thousands of miles, they landed on a mountain. The two of them planned to cultivate in seclusion here for a while. Xian Yanqing wanted to use the heavenly demon fruit to cultivate the heavenly demon force field. Lu Ming also wanted to refine the blood essence. "Dandan, protect us," Lu Ming said. 10 rank 5 spiritual herbs. Dandan demanded an exorbitant price. Lu Ming threw 2 spiritual herbs to him and said, 2 spiritual herbs. Otherwise, none. Dandan had no choice but to grab 2 spiritual herbs and protect them. Xian Yanqing sat cross-legged and took out the heavenly demon fruit to cultivate. Lu Ming sat cross-legged 100 meters away. Rumble. Within the 9-dragon bloodline, the massive blood essence was being refined continuously. This time, there were more than 20 blood essences of greater success kings, including 8 peak-tier kings. The blood essence was simply too dense. The 9 dragons bloodline had already reached the limit of a rank 7 monarch bloodline. This time it broke through. 8 silver chakras flashed, and the 9 dragons bloodline reached rank 8 monarch bloodline. Luckily, Xian Yanqing was also in seclusion. Otherwise, his jaw would have dropped. 9 dragons bloodline. 9 dragons? Why does it sound so familiar? Sigh, I can't remember. Dandan muttered as he chewed on a spiritual herb. Let's see if there are enough supreme-grade spiritual crystals. If there are enough, I can become a peak-tier king. A dozen interspatial rings appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Lu Min and Xian Yanqing each took 12 interspatial rings of the greater success kings of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution. Lu Ming sank his consciousness into the interspatial rings and gathered all the supreme-grade spiritual crystals together. Chapter 642. As expected of the storage rings of kings at the Great Success Stage and Peak Kings. They were simply too rich. In total, there were more than 80 million supreme spiritual crystals in the 12 storage rings. 80 million peak-grade spiritual crystals was truly terrifying. Alchemy is truly profitable. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. Moreover, the people of the Cloud Sea Elixir Institution used the blood qi of infants to refine pills. Naturally, they would be able to earn more peak-grade spiritual crystals. Even peak kings and great success kings weren't that rich. Lu Ming estimated that Yun Luo's storage ring would definitely have more peak-grade spiritual crystals. It was a pity that Yun Luo had escaped. It's more than enough to become a peak king. After Lu Ming sorted out the peak-grade spiritual crystals, he looked at Xian Yanqing. At this moment, an invisible force field spread out from Xian Yanqing's body, covering an area of 100 meters. It was constantly vibrating and contracting. Xian Yanqing held the heavenly demon fruit in his hand. The heavenly demon fruit shone brightly and was absorbed by Xian Yanqing. It seemed that Xian Yanqing's cultivation wouldn't end anytime soon. With a thought, Lu Ming's body disappeared and entered the Temple of Paragon. His breakthrough would cause quite a commotion. If he was outside, it would most likely alert Xian Yanqing. Let's begin. With a wave of his hand, a huge pile of peak-grade spiritual crystals appeared. There were at least 1 million of them. The million peak-grade spiritual crystals exploded and turned into dense heaven and earth spiritual qi. The 9 dragons bloodline appeared. The 9 dragons bloodline had reached the 8th level king grade. Its body seemed to have grown larger, and its scales were dense. It looked more and more like the legendary true dragons. Opening its mouth, a terrifying devouring power erupted. The energy of the million peak-grade spiritual crystals was sucked into the 9 dragons bloodline. Lu Ming circulated the true dragon battle technique and started cultivating. Breaking through to the peak king grade required a lot of energy. Furthermore, he had to condense his cyclone to the extreme in preparation for breaking through to the Sea of Soul realm. Therefore, a lot of supreme spiritual crystals were needed. The devouring and refining power of the 9 dragons bloodline increased several times. It didn't take long for the 1 million supreme-grade spiritual crystals to be refined. Lu Ming took out another 1 million. Just like that, 1 million after another. Endless energy was accumulating. When Lu Ming had refined 18 million pieces of supreme spiritual crystals, the cyclone in his dantian had finally become extremely condensed. It was like a rotating liquid, like the eye of the sea. At this moment, a powerful aura rose from Lu Ming's body. He had broken through to the Peak King realm. Rumble. Circulating the true battle dragon art, his true essence surged. Lu Ming felt that the strength of his true essence was several times stronger than before, and Lu Ming's battle strength had naturally increased by a large margin. Lu Ming opened his eyes and revealed a satisfied smile. Peak King warriors were considered to be standing at the peak of King warriors. The next step would be to open up the spirit ocean and step into the Sea of Souls realm. However, this step wasn't that easy. First, he had to comprehend the intent of heaven and earth to the second level. Without the second-level intent of heaven and earth, only death would await him if he tried to break through to the Sea of Souls realm. Only a little more than a day has passed after refining so many supreme-grade spiritual crystals. Let's go see how Shaoqing's cultivation is going. With a thought, Lu Ming left the Temple of Paragon. As soon as Lu Ming appeared, he felt a powerful force field surging. He felt a huge pressure on his body. Lu Ming moved and retreated a few hundred meters before the pressure disappeared. The heavenly demon fruit in Xian Yanqing's hand had already disappeared. Her long hair fluttered in the wind as a lotus floated above her head. A beautiful woman sat cross-legged on the lotus. Powerful force fields constantly emanated from Xian Yanqing's body. Not simple, not simple. Dandan circled around Xian Yanqing, its eyes darting around as it sized up Xian Yanqing. 8 hours later, the force field around Xian Yanqing suddenly shrank and disappeared from her body. At this moment, Xian Yanqing opened her eyes. Shaoqing, how was it? Did you break through the heavenly demon force field? Lu Ming walked over and smiled. Of course. How was it? Do you want to test its power? There was a sly smile at the corners of Xian Yanqing's lips. He stared at Lu Ming with evil intentions. Do you think you can defeat me just because you broke through? You'll be disappointed again. Lu Ming smiled confidently. Is that so? Then I'll give it a try. Xian Yanqing smiled. As soon as she finished speaking, she pressed her palms forward. Buzz. An incomparably powerful force field erupted and instantly enveloped Lu Ming. Lu Ming felt as if there was a majestic mountain pressing down on him. So strong. It's several times stronger than before. Lu Ming's eyes revealed a trace of amazement. Boom. In the next moment, a powerful aura erupted from Lu Ming's body. He circulated his true essence and combined the three essences of heaven and earth to expand the power of the heavenly demon force field. You've broken through in your cultivation? Xian Yanqing exclaimed in surprise. Of course. You've broken through, so how can I not? Lu Ming chuckled. Just in time. Destruction cut. Xian Yanqing shouted and pressed her palms together. A terrifying cutting power erupted from the heavenly demon force field. This cutting power was formed from the concept of destruction and the heavenly demon force field. It was incomparably sharp. Even a level 5 spiritual weapon would be cut apart. Lu Ming condensed a long spear with true essence in his hand. With the tip as the center, the long spear spun rapidly like a drill and drilled in Xian Yanqing's direction. Bang! Bang! With a rumble, the domain in front of him was broken. Lu Ming stepped forward and avoided Xian Yanqing's attack. If he wanted to defeat Xian Yanqing, he would first have to rush out of this domain and kill his way to Xian Yanqing. Little Qing, after I take him down, I'll have to reward you. Lu Ming's gaze swept over Xian Yanqing's body. You want to take me down? Dream on. Xian Yanqing shouted and her bloodline erupted. Her slender jade-like hands pressed down again. A beautiful arm formed out of thin air and slapped down at Lu Ming. The terrifying palm energy swept towards Lu Ming like raging waves. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He didn't dare to be careless. He stabbed out with his spear and a huge tricolor true dragon rushed out and collided with the beautiful palm. Boom! The earth trembled horribly. The terrain rose and fell. Violent energy swept in all directions. Lu Ming's body shook slightly and he took 3 steps back. Xian Yanqing, on the other hand, took 3 steps back. They were evenly matched. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He was about to erupt his bloodline and fight with Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing withdrew her heavenly demon force field and said, "Stop, stop. Today's a draw." Stop? Lu Ming was a little speechless. Putting everything else aside, Xian Yanqing was a good opponent. Lu Ming wanted to erupt his bloodline and fight with all his strength, but Xian Yanqing stopped. "If you're a big man, why are you so serious when fighting with a little girl like me? How petty. Who wants to fight with you?" Chapter 643. Lu Ming gave a wry smile. All right, it was Xian Yanqing who said he wanted to have a competition. Now, it was Lu Ming who was in the wrong. What could Lu Ming say? He could only tell himself that he should never try to reason with a woman, because his reason might not be hers. With a faint smile, Xian Yanqing's figure flashed as he grabbed Dandan and placed her on his shoulder. Then he rose into the air and flew toward the west. Lu Ming walked in the air and chased after her. The chaotic astral ocean was not close from here. It was almost half the distance of the Yunfeng territory. Even with their speed, it would take them almost 10 days to fly there. Little Qing, you cultivate the destruction mentality and the win mentality, right? On the way, Lu Ming asked. Yes, I comprehended the destruction mentality from my bloodline. Xian Yanqing said. Those 2 mentalities don't seem to merge together. Do you think it's that easy to merge 2 mentalities? Xian Yanqing rolled her eyes at Lu Ming. Then she thought of something and said, Not like you. You're so abnormal. I can teach you some experience of merging mentalities. How about it? Do you want to learn? Lu Ming said with a smile. Xian Yanqing's eyes brightened. Indeed, Lu Ming had successfully merged 3 mentalities. If she had Lu Ming's experience, she might really be able to merge 2 mentalities. If she could really merge the destruction mentality and the win mentality, her heavenly demon force field would be enhanced to a terrifying level. Are you so kind that you'll teach me? Xian Yanqing asked tentatively. Of course not. I have a condition. Come kiss me. I'll tell you how to merge them. Lu Ming said with a smile. Kiss you? Xian Yanqing's face was as red as a ripe apple. She glared fiercely at Lu Ming and said, I knew it. You're a pervert. You wish. Then she clenched her teeth. Well then forget it. I can't help it. Who told me to be a pervert? Lu Ming gave a long sigh. You? Xian Yanqing clenched her teeth. Her eyes kept changing. Then she stared at Lu Ming with her face getting redder and redder. Finally she actually approached him, closed her eyes, and kissed Lu Ming's face. Lu Ming's figure flashed and moved a few meters away. And laughed. Little Qing, what are you doing? It's just a joke. Did you take it? Ha. A scream came out of Xian Yanqing's mouth. Xian Yanqing blushed and glared at Lu Ming fiercely. She clenched her teeth and wanted to bite Lu Ming. In the end, she bared her teeth and pounced on Lu Ming to bite him. Lu Ming dodged and flew forward. He shouted, Nest, the tigress is biting. Stop. No. I won't stop. The 2 of them disappeared into the sky, one chasing and one escaping. Days passed. On the way, Lu Ming occasionally teased Xian Yanqing. He was in a good mood. Of course, he wouldn't be stingy. He shared his experience with Xian Yanqing. In addition, he took out a lot of destruction profound crystals for Xian Yanqing. The destruction profound crystals were also one of the many destruction profound crystals that Lu Ming had obtained in the heaven realm. When Xian Yanqing saw Lu Ming take out a lot of destruction profound crystals, and there were even many middle-grade destruction profound crystals, she couldn't help but be flabbergasted. Of course, she put them away without hesitation. Then she took out a martial skill book and gave it to Lu Ming. The exploding star fist was a heaven-grade upper-grade martial skill. Combined with the fire concept, it could erupt with a terrifying power like the explosion of a star. Lu Ming was overjoyed. His current attack methods were indeed a little monotonous. With this exploding star fist, his attack methods would be a little more varied. He had obtained some martial skill books from others before, but they were all heaven grade lower grade. Lu Ming didn't care about them at all. Most of them needed to be used with weapons to cultivate. They weren't suitable for Lu Ming. This martial skill book was just right for Lu Ming. The two of them weren't in a hurry to travel. They cultivated as they traveled. If they had comprehended something, they would stop and cultivate for a while. Lu Ming's comprehension of the exploding star fist was also improving rapidly. The two of them flew for more than 20 days before arriving at the destination that was supposed to take 10 days. The random star city was located on the shore of the chaotic astral ocean. It could be considered as the border between the Cloud Peak domain and the chaotic astral ocean. The random star city could be said to be the most prosperous city in the Cloud Peak domain. Everyone who wanted to enter the chaotic astral ocean from the Cloud Peak domain had to pass through the random star city. Countless merchant associations and caravans gathered here. The chaotic astral ocean could be said to be the largest inland sea in the eastern wilderness. Its area was larger than many large domains. There were many precious materials and strange treasures that couldn't be found in the outside world. Therefore, countless merchant associations took the risk to enter the chaotic astral ocean to search for materials and treasures unique to the chaotic astral ocean and transport them to other large domains to sell. They could earn huge profits. And these merchant associations all had to set out from the random star city. It's really lively. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing walked to the streets of the random star city. Looking at the endless stream of people coming and going, Lu Ming couldn't help but sigh. On both sides of the street, there were many shops. Inside, there were all kinds of wonderful materials and items from the sea. Lu Ming had never seen them before. It was a great eye-opener. After walking around, the two of them headed for the harbor outside the city. The so-called harbor of the random star city wasn't a place to dock ships, but a place to dock flying demonic beasts. This was because there were many aquatic demonic beasts living in the chaotic astral ocean. These aquatic demonic beasts were extremely powerful in the sea. They could overturn the clouds and rain. Ships sailing on the sea would definitely be defeated by the demonic beasts in the sea. Therefore, most people who entered the chaotic astral ocean rode on flying demonic beasts. Of course, riding on flying demonic beasts wasn't completely without danger. In the chaotic astral ocean, the weather was unpredictable. They might encounter a storm or thunderstorm at any time. As for the storms and thunderstorms, they were no ordinary storms and thunderstorms. Some of them were so terrifying that even kings would die within them. Also, the biggest danger in the chaotic astral ocean was pirates. Pirates were everywhere, robbing passers-by. The only outcome for those who were robbed was death. Therefore, all the warriors who wanted to enter the chaotic astral ocean would enter in groups. The most common way was to follow some caravans. The caravans themselves would have powerful forces, and they would also hire some guards with high cultivation. Therefore, as long as the caravans were given some spirit crystals, they would agree to go together. The benefits were mutual. One side could get the protection of the caravan's forces, and the other side, the more people there were in the caravans, the stronger the deterrence. Mutual benefits. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing also wanted to find a caravan to go together. They weren't afraid of the pirates in the chaotic astral ocean, but because the chaotic astral ocean was too big. If no one led the way, it would be very easy to get lost. Chapter 644. The port of Random Star City was bustling with noise and excitement. Huge flying beasts were parked there. There were wind eagles, gale eagles, four-winged flying tigers, and so on. All kinds of flying beasts had one thing in common, which was great endurance and huge size. Each demonic beast could carry at least a few dozen people. These demonic beasts were not all standing together. Instead, they were clearly divided into different factions. Lu Yuan Chamber of Commerce is going to Fengyuan Island. Is there anyone who wants to go with us? Only 10,000 supreme spiritual crystals per person. Flame Chamber of Commerce is going to Jinsha Island. Let's go together. 12,000 supreme spiritual crystals per person. Tsunami Chamber of Commerce is calling for guards to go to Sea Lion Island. The price is set according to cultivation. Let's talk face to face. When the two arrived at the port, they heard shouts. Which island should we go to first? Xian Yanqing asked. Anything is fine. Let's choose a bigger island. Lu Ming said. The map shown by the Martial Emperor's treasure only pointed to the chaotic astral ocean, but it did not point to the specific location of the chaotic astral ocean. The two guessed that it would only point to the specific location when all 9 keys appeared. Therefore, they did not have a specific target and could only choose a random place. Then let's go to Jinsha Island. Jinsha Island is a big island with many martial artists gathered there. Xian Yanqing said. But Lu Ming nodded, and then the two walked in the direction of the Flame Chamber of Commerce. You too, are you going to Jinsha Island? A middle-aged man with a goatee asked with a smile. Lu Ming nodded. Go to Jinsha Island. 12,000 supreme spiritual crystals per person. Our young lady is there. You can go there to sign up and pay. The middle-aged man with a goatee pointed. The two looked over and saw a young woman surrounded by a group of people standing under a huge 4-winged flying tiger. Thank you. Lu Ming cupped his fists and walked over with Xian Yanqing. Are you two going to Jinsha Island? The woman looked at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing and smiled. The woman was in her 20s. She wore a light yellow long dress, which made her look delicate and pretty. This was the young lady that the goatee spoke of. Yes, this is the fee for both of us. Lu Ming took out 24,000 top-grade spiritual crystals and gave them to the young woman. The woman put it away and smiled. My name is Luo Exit. How should I address you? Lu Ming. Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing also introduced themselves. Mr. Lu, Ms. Xie, the journey to Jinsha Island will take half a month. You can choose a 4-winged flying tiger first. We will depart in 2 hours. Luo Exin smiled. All right. Lu Ming nodded. Then he and Xian Yanqing chose a 4-winged flying tiger. This 4-winged flying tiger was 20 meters tall and had a wide back. It was lying on the ground. There were already a few people sitting cross-legged on the back of the 4-winged flying tiger. The two of them moved and landed on the back of the 4-winged flying tiger. They sat cross-legged and waited quietly. As soon as Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing left, a cold-looking young man beside Luo Exin said, 2 more useless people. There is not a single expert on this trip to Jinsha Island. How unlucky. Chenzhao, this is normal. We don't have experts with us every time. We are a caravan, so we have to rely more on ourselves, Luo Exin said. I know. Of course, I know that. However, if there are experts with us, we will be able to reduce the number of casualties if we encounter danger. The others nodded. That was indeed the case. Their caravan had brought people with them for 2 reasons. First, they could earn some money. Second, they wanted to borrow some strength. If they encountered danger along the way, they would lend a helping hand. If there were a few experts with them, it would be much safer. While they were chatting, more people came over. 2 hours passed in the blink of an eye. The people of the flame caravan, as well as the guards, were all on the back of the 4-winged flying tiger. Let's go! Luo Exin shouted. The 4-winged flying tiger roared and soared into the sky, flying toward the chaotic astral ocean. Lu Ming glanced over. There were 64 winged flying tigers. There were about 20 people on each of them. In total, there were more than 1,000 people. Most of them were from the flame caravan. There were about 200 of them, like Lu Ming and the others, who were following the caravan to Jinsha Island. There was nothing but people on the back of the 4-winged flying tiger. People would not carry goods. Martial artists were different from mortal caravans. Mortal caravans had to carry a large amount of goods. Martial artists' goods were all stored in their storage rings. The 4-winged flying tiger roared as it flew. It had 4 huge fleshy wings that were more than 50 meters wide. With a flap of its wings, a gust of wind swept up. The 60 huge 4-winged flying tigers flew a few thousand meters in the air and formed a formation. A white-robed old man stood on the foremost 4-winged flying tiger, looking into the distance. This old man was the guide of the caravan. Not only could he tell the direction, but he could also avoid thunderstorms and storms. He could see them from afar and could always take a detour to avoid them. This was a guide that every caravan had. It was also called a wind guide. A wind guide was the most valuable asset of every caravan. It could help the caravan avoid many dangers. The salty sea breeze blew, and Lu Ming felt refreshed. This is the real sea. Lu Ming stood on the back of the four-winged flying tiger and looked into the distance. The blue sea was boundless, and one couldn't see the end of it. It was as if it was connected to the sky. The surface of the sea was very calm. It was completely different from the sea that Lu Ming saw in the heavenly realm. After looking for a while, Lu Ming sat down cross-legged. The journey to Golden Sand Island would take half a month. During this time, he could cultivate properly. He sank his consciousness into his sea of consciousness and sat cross-legged under the lightning cauldron to comprehend the state of thunder. A few hours later, Lu Ming finished comprehending the state of thunder. He started to deduce the exploding star fist in his mind. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Splash! The sound of waves crashing came from below. At the same time, cries could be heard. When Lu Ming looked down, he was slightly startled. Large fish appeared on the surface of the sea below. These large fish were all black. Lu Ming estimated that each of them was about 100 meters long. There were more than 100 of them in total. They rolled in the sea and let out sharp cries. Now that he was in the deep sea, the number of sea demonic beasts gradually increased. Splash! Suddenly, a large part of the seawater caved in, revealing rows of sharp teeth. A large black fish was caught off guard and was directly bitten in half by the sharp teeth. A massive shark leapt out of the water, giving off a monstrous aura. What a huge shark! Lu Ming estimated that this shark was at least 1,000 meters long. It was incomparably huge and looked like a small island in the sea. Chapter 645. The huge sharks chased after each other, dyeing the ocean red. Just at this moment, 2 large furry hands stretched out of the sea. These 2 hands were incomparably huge, and their palms were nearly 100 meters wide. They grabbed the shark's mouth and forcefully pulled. The shark's mouth was directly split in half, and even its body was almost torn apart, causing blood to spurt out. An incomparably huge ape emerged from the sea, opened its big mouth full of teeth, bit the shark, and tore off a large piece of shark meat from the shark. It's a water ape. It's so powerful. It's at least as powerful as a peak king. Not good. It's targeting us. Someone exclaimed. At this moment, the water ape's huge eyes looked up at the sky, filled with a violent aura. But fortunately, it only glanced at the shark's body for a while before slowly sinking into the ocean and disappearing. The demonic beasts in the ocean are really powerful. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. The most amazing thing was that the demon beasts in the sea were too huge. They were easily a few hundred meters long or even 1,000 meters long. On land, it was rare to see such a huge body, unless it was a powerful demon beast that had inherited the bloodline of a divine beast. In the sea, the law of the jungle was displayed even more vividly. Continuing to fly, Lu Ming saw even more huge and powerful demonic beasts along the way. Once, they met a demonic beast that looked like a dragon. It was 2,000 meters long and had a boundless aura. It was definitely equivalent to a Sea of Soul Realm demonic beast. Fortunately, they went around it. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. No wonder it was said that ships couldn't move forward in the chaotic astral ocean. They would definitely be torn apart by these huge demonic beasts. 5 days later. There's a thunderstorm ahead. Turn around and head right. Feng Xiangshi yelled from the first 4-winged sky tiger. The flame caravan immediately turned around and flew to the right. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. Lu Ming focused on comprehending the thunder intent and exploding star fist. The rest of the time, he cultivated spirit fire. Adding the time before, Lu Ming had already cultivated exploding star fist to the 2nd level. Its power was already not bad. After all, he lacked practice and couldn't take out the enlightenment ancient tree to cultivate, so his cultivation speed was naturally not fast. Buzz. On the evening of the 8th day, a series of buzzing sounds suddenly came from the front. The sound was rapidly approaching. Not good, It's flying arrow fish, a school of flying arrow fish. A loud roar reverberated throughout all the four-winged flying sky tigers. Get ready for battle. Just as he finished speaking, a resplendent attack burst forth from the front. Lu Ming's four-winged flying tiger was at the back of the formation. For the time being, it was not attacked. He looked forward. The sky in front of them was densely packed. It was a type of fish with wings. It was about half a meter long and had a sharp mouth like an arrow. This kind of fish was the flying arrow fish. With a flap of their wings, their bodies shot out like arrows, piercing through the air and making tearing sounds. Most of these fish were only equivalent to the martial arts grandmaster level, but there were too many of them. A small number of them had reached the level of martial king. Boom, boom. Multicolored attacks flashed out, and large swaths of flying arrow fish were killed, falling into the sea like raindrops. Everyone, kill these flying arrow fish and leave this place at once. Chen Zhao floated in the air and uttered a roar. With a single slap, over 1,000 flying arrow fish were killed, displaying his strength of the 7th-layer martial emperor realm. Lu Ming shook his head and did not interfere. Although there were a lot of flying arrow fish, their strength was not strong enough to cause any harm to the merchant group, thus there was no need for him to interfere. Beside him, Xian Yanqing had no intention of interfering either, and continued to sit with his legs crossed. As expected, the school of flying arrow fish was almost wiped out in a short while, allowing the merchant group to leave the place and continue flying forward. All of a sudden, a figure appeared before Lu Ming and the others. It was Qin Zhao. At that instant, Qin Zhao's icy face became even colder. He stared at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing and said, "Why didn't you two interfere just then?" His tone was extremely unfriendly, as if he was questioning them. Lu Ming frowned. He did not like it when others spoke to him in such a tone. Therefore, he was naturally unhappy. He said calmly, "It's just some flying swordfish. We don't have to do anything. When the time comes, we will naturally do it." "Ha, no need for you to interfere? How ridiculous, do you think you're peerless experts? How ridiculous, I think you don't even dare to interfere. You're just a coward." Chen Zhao burst out laughing with a mocking look. Xian Yanqing's eyes flickered coldly. Lu Ming frowned and said in a cold tone, "It's none of your business whether we're experts or not. Besides, we've paid qi crystals for this trip. I've never heard of any rules stating that we're required to interfere." "You?" Qin Zhao's expression stiffened. It was true that there was no rule stating that they were required to participate in the journey after paying qi crystals. As a matter of fact, people like Lu Ming and his crew were not required to interfere. However, most people would interfere when they were in danger, just so the merchant group could reach their destination as soon as possible. "Qin Zhao, that's enough." At this moment, Luo Exen flew over and chided. Then she smiled at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. "Young Master Lu, Miss Xie, Qin Zhao is a little hot-tempered. I hope you don't mind him." Xian Yanqing snorted coldly. Lu Ming smiled faintly and did not say anything. "You're weak and you're a coward. Just say so." Chen Zhao coldly left behind these words, then left and flew off into the distance. "Young Master Lu, Miss Xie, I'm sorry." Luo Exen smiled apologetically and left as well. "What a snob." Xian Yanqing curled his lips. Lu Ming smiled faintly and rubbed his nose. It was not that they did not want to interfere, but he had already seen that the flying arrow fish did not pose a threat to the merchant group. It did not matter whether they interfered or not. That was why they did not interfere. If the merchant group was in danger, they would not sit back and do nothing. The small incident was over just like that. The merchant group continued on their journey. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. On the evening of the 10th day, a small island appeared in front of them. "The Zhongyi Island is up ahead. Let's go down and rest for the night. We'll continue tomorrow." Luo Xian's voice was heard. The four-winged flying tiger had been flying for 10 days. No matter how strong its stamina was, it was tired and needed rest. It could not travel continuously. The four-winged flying tiger roared and flew toward the island below. The island was not big. It had a radius of about 1,000 miles. It was originally a place for merchant groups to rest midway. They landed on a huge square on the island. Shopkeeper Yen, the Flame Trade Union is here. Prepare some good food for us. A burly man flew down from the Flame Trade Union and shouted. Huge stone houses were built on the side of the square. In the past, the merchant groups that passed by would rest there and have some food. Chapter 646. What's going on today? In the past, shopkeeper Yen would come out to greet us before we landed. Why isn't there anyone today? Qin Zhao frowned. Luo Xian also frowned. Suddenly, her expression changed and she said, "Oh no, something's wrong. Let's leave quickly. Let's go, let's go." It was clear that some of the more experienced people had also thought of something and shouted out one after another. Haha, it's too late to leave now. Stay here. A cold laugh was heard. Then, the sound of something breaking through the air was heard. Figures appeared in all directions of the square. There were at least 1,000 of them, standing in the air and surrounding the flame merchant team. Pirates, they're pirates! Someone exclaimed. The faces of Luo Xin and the others darkened. Traveling in the chaotic astral ocean was not a big deal, but pirates were the scariest. The chaotic astral sea was originally a gathering place for some evil people. Those evil people who couldn't survive in the eastern wasteland would go to the chaotic astral sea, and no one could find them. The pirates in the chaotic astral ocean were even more vicious. They specialized in killing passing caravans and robbing cultivation resources. Their methods were extremely ruthless and did not leave anyone alive. Some pirates even practiced evil cultivation methods that required killing, blood, and even the souls of martial artists to cultivate. Everyone, we're from the Flame Merchant team. I hope you can give us some face. I know the rules. I'll give you 1,000,000 top-grade spiritual crystals and let us leave. How about that? Luo Xian flew out and wanted to negotiate with them. The Flame Merchant team was a huge merchant team in the chaotic astral ocean. They were powerful and famous. Some pirates would give them some face when they heard about the Flame Merchant team. Unfortunately, Luo Xian was wrong. A burly man with a scar on his face flew out. He looked at Luo Xian's curvy body with a burning gaze and sneered, 1,000,000 top-grade spiritual crystals and you want to send us away? Do you think we're beggars? How about this? Leave half of your goods behind. Also, serve me for a night. If I'm satisfied, I'll consider letting you go. Then, the burly man with a scar licked his lips. His eyes were full of lust. Luo Xian's face turned pale. You're dreaming. Don't think you can defeat us. You have less than 1,000 people. We have more people than you. If we really fight, it's hard to say who will win. Chen Zhao shouted, his anger soaring to the heavens. Ha, so what if you have more people? In my eyes, we're all lambs. Kid, let me tell you. We've never won't win with numbers. The burly man with a scar on his face. What? You're the blood pirates? The faces of Luo Xian, Chen Zhao, and the people at the scene changed drastically. Fear was written all over their faces. Hee, it seems like you've heard of the Blood Evil Pirate Group. You should also know that our methods have always been to eliminate the source of trouble and leave no one alive. Today, I'm in a good mood, so I'll be lenient. It's still the same as before. As long as you serve me well and leave half of the goods, I'll let you go. Chen Zhao's expression kept changing, and he didn't continue speaking. Don't even think about it. Miss, I'll use all my strength to escort you out. The blood pirates can't be trusted. Even if we agree to their conditions, they'll go back on their words. An elder walked out from behind Luo Xi. His body emitted a powerful aura. This elder was a peak-tier king. Old man, you want to escort her out by yourself? Stop dreaming. The burly man with a scar smiled coldly. A peak-tier king also emitted a powerful aura. Peak-tier king. This burly man was also a peak-tier king. Not only that, but another powerful aura appeared behind the burly man. It was also a peak-tier king. The blood pirates had sent out 2 peak-tier kings. Everyone's heart sank. The flaming merchant group only had one peak-tier king, and he usually wouldn't attack just in case. Normal pirate groups rarely had peak-tier kings, but the Blood Pirates were an extremely powerful pirate group in the chaotic astral ocean. It was normal for them to have peak-tier kings. No one had expected two to come. I gave you a chance, but you didn't want it. Now you have no chance. The burly man with a scar's eyes flashed with a fiendish and bloodthirsty light as his aura became stronger and stronger. Kill. Cripple the young girl's cultivation and leave her behind. Kill everyone else. The burly man with a scar roared. Kill. Kill. The Blood Pirates all roared as their fiendish auras spread out. From their auras, every member of the Blood Pirates was covered in blood and had fought for a long time. Such people had rich battle experience. Ordinary cultivators would feel uneasy and their battle power would decrease if they were suppressed by their fiendish aura. Shwa! Shwa! Roars rang out one after another as they charged towards the Flame Trade Union. Qin Zhao, take the young lady and charge out. This old man will block them. The peak-tier king of the Flame Merchant Group roared as he charged at the burly man with a scar. The burly man with a scar's eyes were cold as he slashed out with a blood-colored saber. A river of blood surged toward the elder from the Flame Merchant Group. Star-breaking sword. The elder from the Flame Merchant Group stabbed out with his sword. Specks of starlight shot toward the burly man. Boom! With a loud explosion, his body trembled as he rapidly retreated. With one move, he was at a disadvantage. Luo Exin and the others felt despair in their hearts. You want to stop me with this little bit of battle power? You're courting death. The burly man with a scar laughed coldly. Go, you guys go. The elder roared at Luo Exin and the others. Go? Where do you think you're going? A cold laugh sounded as a skinny figure appeared in front of Luo Exin. His aura was unfathomable. This person was the other peak-tier king of the Blood Pirates. Luo Exin, Qin Zhao, and the others' faces were as white as paper and their hearts were dead. At this moment, screams came from all directions. The Blood Pirates had the upper hand in the first exchange, and people from the Flame Merchant Group were constantly being killed. Old 5, this girl isn't bad. After you play with her, you have to let me play with her. The skinny man looked at Luo Exin as a fiery light flashed in his eyes. Old 6, since you like her, of course you can. The burly man with a scar laughed coldly. Luo Exion's body started to tremble. Damn it. If my big brother was here, he would definitely be able to kill them easily. Qin Zhao roared. Following this, the burly man with a scar slashed at the elder. Boom. The elder's body retreated once more as blood spilled from his mouth. Even peak-tier kings had a huge difference in battle power. It was obvious that the burly man with a scar was stronger than the elder. Old man, 3 more slashes and I'll kill you. The burly man with a scar laughed coldly. You won't have the chance. Right at this moment, a clear voice sounded. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.